This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Pyrrhic Victory of Sargentanus, Cavo Fullmine of Lamia, Jack Orion of Sargentanus. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. And by the Google Shard 4. The Google Shard 4 is the latest in handheld link pearl technology and is our slimmest model yet. Weighing in at 2 ponds and measuring a stunning 1 ilm, using our new patented corrupted crystal method, the Google Shard 4's battery life is guaranteed to last 3 trips through the Aurum Vale. Wipes not included. You'll have access to our world-famous Google Tome Store, featuring popular tomes like Warky Burb, Disgruntled Burbs, Burb Hunter, Bash of Burbs, and many others. Get yours before they become more obsolete than a tombstone of philosophy.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Unhero.
Now behold the horror you have wrought.
Kahlo.
I said don't take your clothes off.
Juxtaposition.
I don't get it.
Ascalia.
Holy shit, totally forgot about him.
And Mika.
Oh my god.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode number 98.
Oh my god, 98.
98 shows.
98 number.
And the thing is that we didn't, we had made the decision early on in the numbering scheme to not do the easy thing, which was when we were doing this show once a month and breaking them up into 3 parts. We were not counting those as separate episodes. It was like part 1, part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really this is episode 136.
That's kind of crazy.
So we're already past 100, so there's nothing.
You're not getting anything special for it.
Yeah,
Don't expect anything.
Fuck you.
I mean, maybe we'll throw a Nero off a bridge. I think that'll do a lot for our publicity.
well,
We can
all
be like,
publicity is
episode
good.
100,
That would
a
be very
Nero
nice.
commits suicide.
I think that's called murder, actually.
Yeah, that's a. I don't know if that's a snuff film. Is that a snuff podcast, snuff radio show? I don't know how that works.
Obviously, we wouldn't do it like a murder. We'd set it up, leave the note and everything.
Oh, okay.
We'd make sure there were empty beefaroni cans. That would really sell it. They'd be like, oh my god, he was really at the bottom of the barrel.
This guy was eating beefaroni. All right, we can call this one.
Out of the can. Out of the can.
Not even warmed up.
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong.
Do you not?
Welcome to the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to my crew for giving me a week off last week, I guess.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
God damn it. No. No.
Sloppy.
I swear to God, if you use that one more time.
Sloppy.
Oh, no.
You want us to take away your drops?
No.
I will take your drops.
Sloppy.
Take away the drops. Take them away.
Whoa.
Take them away.
Whoa.
They're
That's
gone. Gone.
You can have them back under one condition.
Okay, dictator Kahlo.
No.
You're not in the chair no more.
You can have them back under one condition.
Only one.
One condition. Okay?
If it's anything besides not using sloppy drop.
You cannot use the sloppy drop.
God damn it.
If you do, you are permanently off of drops. Escalia will take over your drops.
Oh, please don't do it. Please don't use
forever.
sloppy drop.
Forever.
Sloppy drop is funny.
And
No, it's not.
And you,
It's so funny. It's so
you
good.
will then have to become the resident transgendered.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I've got the
That's how
wyvern.
that works.
I've got
that's
the
how that
wyvern
works.
pet already.
What?
All right,
Hey.
okay.
Look, anyway.
Fine.
I agree.
Fine.
I agree with this.
Fine. I won't play the sloppy drop anymore. Okay?
Yes, that's
Good.
exactly
Is
what.
that what you want?
Yes.
That's exactly what you want.
That's exactly what we were asking for. Yes.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
That's it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Just stop using that drop.
Can I use it one more time
No.
on the road?
Hash bring back this loft-8.
We need to get that. We need to get the timing right on
why
these.
does that always delay so much?
I know it really is. That's so weird. The timing of
it's
that
a
is
bit
so
thing.
weird.
I'll look into it.
But then we sit there and we're waiting on it.
Waiting.
Oh no, dead air. Oh God.
All right, fine.
All right. No more sloppy drops.
No more sloppy drops.
But they're giving us bits to bring it back.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Less sloppy, more rump cocky.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Like, seriously,
Okay,
we've got to get it under control.
We're already 50 minutes past. Can we get on with the actual show? Fine. No more sloppy drop. If it's going to be that much of a fucking issue.
Gosh, you mad, bro?
Yes, I am mad.
Well, now you know how we feel when you overuse the sloppy drop.
Well, now I know how I feel when I look at you because you're dumb and ugly.
Zing.
Holy
It wasn't a zing.
I think
Yeah.
we just triggered the fuck out of Juxta, so I feel like this animated GIF is really appropriate.
I can't even see the animated GIF.
It's Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, it's Squall using Lionheart.
Oh, what?
Anyway.
Oh,
Lorenzo
trigger.
Kukin.
That's actually funny. Okay, fair enough. Can I have my drops back?
Well, all
Are
the
you
other
going
ones,
to use them? Are you going to use them responsibly?
Yes.
All right. Fine.
Another victory for America.
There we go.
Anyway, welcome to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode number 98 of Limit Break Radio. Of course, here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. And we appreciate you noting the new time because there are so many of you that are joining. 237 people joining us right off the rip here for episode number 98. Thank you to all of the hosts that we got just as we were starting here. Oh, here we go again.
Hashtag boycott the rump cock until Tesla returns.
You can't boycott the rump cock.
That's that's
boycott the rump cock.
I like that
That doesn't
phrase.
roll
That's
off the tongue very well.
No.
Boycott the rump cock?
That's outstanding. That should be on a poster.
Perfect. Can we get like that, like the Obama Hope poster, but just like boycott the rump cock?
No.
Boycott and then
Because
like inside different shade rump
the
cock.
implication there is that we would want Sloppy to come back, and we do not want that.
No.
I do.
Shut up, Nika. You don't count.
You play a
There's just
kazoo,
something
Nika.
about the way he says it. It's so funny.
It's not.
It really is.
It really is not. Am I really?
Remember, this is coming from the person who thought that the Pokemon that looks like Trump was funny.
Okay.
It's funny too.
God damn it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us here live at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio at our new time starting at 4 p.m. And I think that this has gone really, like, we had like 200 people for Final Encountercast earlier today. So I think that was overall in general a pretty good change.
Yeah,
here.
we're up to 236 already for LBR.
I know it's pretty fantastic. I think we're pretty satisfied with that. So thank you guys for tuning in, for hanging out. We'll want to hear from you a little bit later on in the show, but we've got joining us today a couple of guests from the Speakers of Heidelin show, as well as the Speakers Network on YouTube. They've been doing a series called The Fall and Rise of FF14, looking at a bunch of the factors that went into the fall and the rise of FF14 1.0. We're going to be talking to them a little bit later. But first, as always, we got to check out what's going on in FF14 news.
This is a Limit Breaking News Update.
We got a lot to report this week.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I know, right? It's nice to actually have some things in this segment. So, including patch 3.51 that dropped earlier this week.
Yep.
Scalia, why don't you tell us a little bit about 3.51?
So 3.51 will bring several additions and refinements to Eorzea, including adjustments to the animal weapon story quest. And that really is pretty much the biggest thing that came out of this, is we got Aether Oil coming down in price. It's going to be dropping from 1,800 tomestones of ESO and lore down to 700.
Oh my god.
This is
Wow,
fucking
that's a
bullshit.
lot.
Nerf.
This is going to be super easy now. I already have enough tomestones to finish that stage now.
Dude, that is ridiculous. Really?
Why is the boost still on fire? Hashtag bad Juxta.
I don't.
What is with the bits donations?
Let's just give
bits
all
with
of the
such a
anima to all of the losers who don't have the energy and effort to really make it.
No,
Do
this
they
is-
really deserve it?
This step was fucking easy. We need to fucking nerf Umbre so I can get back on that track.
Fuck you! Why don't
No,
you just
fuck
do
you.
it properly?
Come on,
No.
this is so great. Now I have enough tomestones to finish.
Why don't you just stop being sloppy?
You can't ban the drop and then.
And then
use
use
it.
Yes, we absolutely can, because I bet that pisses him off.
You know, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's
Good call,
right.
I'll accept
actually.
that.
Oh my god.
Further,
This is fucking retarded. You can't use the drop after you hate on it, okay?
Just did.
Sloppy.
Wait.
Hey, that wasn't me!
No.
It's not my hand.
Cut his drop.
Wait, shh.
That was a donation.
What? Wait, hang
It's
on.
a donation.
Yep, y'all missed a donation. Y'all suck.
I don't think we did miss a donation.
No, I heard one.
No,
We did too.
Yeah, we definitely heard the donate. I support Jump Potions. Make FF14 great again. Thank you,
Pornographic.
Pornographic.
Turn his drops off.
All right.
Yeah, get those drops.
No, your drops are gone
You
for
are
the rest of the
banned.
show.
Oh my gosh, that
You
wasn't
fucking-
me.
Yes, it was. Oh,
You
yeah.
douche doodle.
But you saw I was talking to you. I was looking at you. I can't.
I don't
look
believe
and
you.
drop at the same time. I'm not a multitasker.
That you know what? Actually, that might be true. He's not. He is not much of a multitasker.
I'm barely a tasker.
It's basically a single tasker.
It's hard to argue over that, but you know what? It's also, I feel like it's the perfect defense. So no, fuck you.
Yeah, this one
I'm
planned
too
from the start.
stupid. No, you're not.
Yeah, did we just call Juxta too smart to come up with
He's
that?
not exactly smart, but he found a way.
He's devious, is what he is.
Well, he is.
Hashtag framed be callow.
Framed be callow.
It's going to framed bees.
I mean, I tried to kill the dead air, and I still left dead air.
In addition to the tombstones being lower, we now have a fix coming out after last week's catastrophic fishing server collapses. To fix that, Upper Lenosia's North Bronze Lake has been renamed.
Sloppy.
What the fuck? Did you mute him?
Yes, I absolutely. The drops are totally
Wait,
muted.
there's donation again.
That yes. Hang
What
on.
did you do?
Hang on. The drops are definitely muted. That came through the.
That was the drop.
Fuck you.
What did you do?
What the fuck is wrong with you? I told you never to do this again. Do you know? Do you realize? Do you even have half an idea of how much work this makes for me?
Yeah,
Do you have any idea?
I didn't do a drop though.
Oh, son of a bitch.
That's bullshit. That's total fucking bullshit. No.
Juxta is always right.
The thing is that, like, we can't even cut access to that fucking system from him because it's tied to the actual Twitch fucking channel. You fucking...
He's a diabolical evil genius.
Switch it back.
Hey, no. He is more like a sidekick that occasionally does something cool.
Yeah, he's Snively from Sonic Adventures.
I don't know who that is, but
Oh my god. I'm gonna have a fucking conniption fit.
No, you're gonna have a conniption fit when you try to edit this later.
Episode is gonna come out on fucking Wednesday.
Hashtag red.
Yes.
God damn it.
Oh my god.
No.
Okay, new rule. From now on, you can
Chopper.
only donate in bits.
Hey, they can donate however they want.
Bit donations only.
Oh my god.
Sad reacts only.
I can't even
You know what,
even
Juxta? I hope
fucking
that
gauge my anger level.
I hope
right
that
now.
all of your Overwatch comps from here forward are blessed by Hanzo and Widowmaker mains.
And Bastions.
You're the worst. You're the literal goddamn
For
fucking
Juxta,
worst.
that's pretty clever.
No, it's not. It's annoying, and it's gonna really. Honestly, this is gonna take me a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
But at least you can just take it from the drop. You don't have to
Sloppy.
find a.
God damn it.
And Juxta
You know,
for
to
the
find
rest
a-
of the show.
Oh, was that
Fuck you,
$100?
Juxta.
That's $100 from Sevo Kevo to say ban Juxta for the rest of the show. I'm first of all, thank you, Sevo Kevo. You're the fucking man. And second of all, I'm okay with this. You can go. You know what? You can do what I did last week, and you can
Sloppy.
fucking hit the pavement.
Sup, Annie bro? How are the stress levels?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Can we put Juxta out in like the chicken outfit and make him promote the show? And you get the payment?
This is gonna, because I've been putting the shows together on the stream.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
They want to see this.
No,
when
they
something goes
don't.
wrong.
They
It's
don't.
so
They
nice.
don't want to see me fucking complain about this again, more because I've already complained. God damn it.
Juxta
This
for
is gonna be-
president. An arrow, calm down and shake our president's hand.
Oh.
Oh my God! Can we at least set the minimum donation to display for $5? Like this is gonna be people are just gonna be throwing dollars at us like strippers the entire fucking show just to make it go sloppy.
They're making it rain up in here.
God damn
Sloppy
it!
here.
Oh God.
There's gonna be I'm telling you, there's gonna be so many fucking donations by the end of this episode that it's gonna the system's gonna have problems showing me what donations we got. This is gonna be a problem for me in my life, in my actual life. I've never.
So now we drown Juxta like a puppy.
Yes.
Miri, what is your obsession with this?
Miri, I'm 100% with you. Oh my God. Can we finish talking about patch 3.51?
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever taken 22 minutes to get through a 0.1 patch.
Sloppy.
Sloppy.
Don't tell me how to donate. Hashtag Mutekolo.
Done.
Mutekalo.
Done. Mutekalo is done. Yeah.
It is now.
It is now.
You brought this upon yourself.
Yeah. Well, no. Hashtag mute Callow is not a thing. Mutekalo is.
Yes, that's right.
Mutekalo. Yeah.
If Kahlo had not banned this drop, this wouldn't have happened. So
Yeah. This is really Callow's fault when you think about it.
Sloppy.
God damn it.
Dance monkey, dance. Show me that G-string. Any arrow.
Oh my God, this is gonna be so fucking frustrating.
It's really funny because when we're getting ready to come in here and do this show, the last thing we always say is usually like "Dance Monkeys Dance" or "Let's go dance monkeys."
Right.
All right. So
I honestly, like when you guys get this episode released on a Wednesday, don't come crying to me. Well, why did this show take extra long? Well, this is why. This is why.
Isn't that at least easier than finding a custom accent for a drop?
yes.
Actually, you know.
Sloppy.
Trump's wife's G-string is hashtag sloppy.
Oh.
Thanks.
Easier not fucking with it.
What's that? I can't hear you, Kahlo. What's
Fuck
wrong?
you!
Oh Jesus!
I knew that was coming.
Nice. Brofist. That was a
Nice.
good one.
Yes, that was good.
All right.
Teamwork.
So yeah, to save the server from being catastrophically crashed again, the North Bronze Lake.
We know. We don't give a shit. Move on.
All right.
I want to know how just renaming them suddenly fixes the problem.
Who cares?
Because maths.
A sound will now play when a party has finished recruiting via the Party Finder interface. Woot.
That's kind of cool. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's the sound effect?
Sloppy.
See, now you guys are buying into it.
Shut up! And I
Yeah.
hate you for it.
Players can now join parties listed in the Party Finder.
Sloppy.
God.
Didn't you guys just make like $150 in 10 minutes?
Yes!
Extra for money, daddy.
We sure
I mean, you're
did.
not wrong.
You're
but
not
it doesn't
wrong.
it's just more infuriating because of that.
Well, no.
Because
well,
of Juxta.
I don't.
Shut
get,
up.
I don't get the $150. Like that doesn't get to. I don't.
LBR gets it.
Yeah,
though.
that's right.
The company.
The company gets it.
Toe the company line.
And look who you have running this company. You think they look after their employees?
Surprisingly, we really do. We try to at least.
try.
Yeah.
We look after
Sloppy.
Mr.
Best
Jack,
show. Hashtag sloppy YYY.
this is why I hate you, Mr. Jack. $1, you cheap bastard.
Sloppy
But
YYY.
think about it though. If everybody listening donates $1, that's $230 something.
And 236 donations that Nero has to edit in.
Yeah.
That's math.
That's
That's $236 more for a show.
I think it's about time Skrull learned how to edit.
you know what?
Hey.
You know what?
You know what? Maybe.
I don't think he could. I don't think he would qualify. I think he's too sloppy.
Oh, there it is.
You guys love it.
And we're not happy about it. Players can now join parties listed in the Party Finder interface, even when queued for a duty via the Duty Finder. So good.
Okay.
Oh, you don't delete, yeah.
And everything else
Well,
is resolved issues and patch fixes.
Yeah, that's good.
Other various issues have been addressed, which means the title. That's at the bottom.
Oh.
What's it changed to now? Do we know? Oh no, this is going live on Tuesday, isn't it?
Is it?
Or is it already?
No, it's already
it's
live.
happening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't
Chat,
even know.
what's the new title? I want to know.
You mean the new title for the
less
quest?
spoilery title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the spoiler title. Yeah. So let's see. Looking at other FF14 news, the gear design contest for range, DPS, and healer is now live on the Lodestone. And this was a really cool... I loved the concept of this, this contest when they did it for tanks. I don't care now, but when it was for tanks, when it was for something that I gave a shit about, I thought this was really cool. And
it's so cool that they're doing it again.
Shut up,
at
Nika.
first we're like, why just for tanks? Why not everything? At least now they are.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm being so mean today.
Ranged magic DPS and healer are two completely different things, though.
They really are.
You should not slop those in together. That would just be...
I'd like to point out that $100 donation by Sevo had a mute Juxta in it, and we didn't mute him.
No, it had a band Juxta in it.
Oh yeah, no, that was a full on band Juxta.
That's a band Juxta.
That was / vote kick.
Well, we can at least give him the mute.
I'll give him a mute.
Okay.
I'll give him an extra long mute.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't like that idea.
Well, you don't. It's not up to you. This is a nice degree of power that you're given when you sit in the seat, isn't it, Kahlo?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
we
great.
noticed.
I still see your strike mark here. It's still sitting in front of me.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
if
know
you
why
want to continue
No, I don't. Absolutely not. Because
The
I'll
reason
just
it
I'll just
worked-
fucking mute a motherfucker.
The reason it worked is because once Nika got 2 strikes, and she's always against me, suddenly she started behaving herself, didn't she? They start to work to get
actually
don't
don't
strikes
think that
taken
is what I
off.
did.
Yeah, you did.
Actually, only Nika does that. I didn't try it all.
No, but you also didn't get very many strikes, surprisingly.
But see, I got 2
He was
strikes that
doing
also
this-
got taken away.
He was doing the sloppy drop the entire fucking show.
I told him once per minute, and he adhered to it, though.
He really did it.
Wow, that's
did.
very lax.
Yeah,
once a minute.
Well, no, one time he
Jeez.
actually did it twice in a row.
And he got a strike. I keep these bitches in place.
Anyway, if
Speaking of keeping bitches in place, I might drop
no, you can't have anything back.
Well,
Nothing. You're essentially banned from the show for like another 10 minutes, or until.
Skuro says, "Did Kahlo out kindergarten the kindergarten teacher?" I did. I used her own tricks against her.
Ooh, psychology. Anyway, if you're really good at designing gear and you want to submit gear designs, make sure you go check out the Lodestone for the gear design contest. And it is kind of weird that they're lumping, ranged magic, DPS, and healer into the same category. Although I guess it is, they would be sort of similar.
I was going to
robes.
say, yeah. To be fair,
That's
usually.
unfair.
No, when you think about it, usually they have the same gear design. They're just different colors.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2 contests, that there's actually, they're lumping them together.
Yeah, they're lumping them together, yeah.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah,
I thought it was one. I thought it was one contest for range DPS. and
Yeah,
one
I
contest
thought
for
so
healer.
too.
Why don't we have one contest for physical melee DPS and lump tanks in with that?
Well,
How
they
much does it
didn't,
get?
so they're smart.
Well, you're dumb.
Well, too bad.
Well, we just keep saying well.
Yeah. It works really well when you're muted.
Well.
Anyway, so yeah, if you wanted to design some gear and possibly see it implemented into FF14, although with the tank gear, did we ever actually see that implemented yet?
Not yet.
I mean,
they
they
said they were going to put it in with Stormblood.
They picked a winner. I knew that, but I did not know when they had said that they would actually put it insert it into the game. So I was not aware. Anyway, all right. So again, more about that over at the Lodestone, where you can find more info about the European FanFest live stream purchase. The stream details the price is going to be $29.99 euros.
Yeah, it'll be. Well, that's good, I guess. Isn't that what it was? 30 here, right? Or was it 35?
I truthfully do not remember.
I don't.
Because we were there and none of us had to buy it. For that, you get HD resolution, all the main stage content in Japanese and in English.
Oh, man.
Bonus item code for all of the shit that all of the other FanFests got, including the
but it's a different minion.
Yuna and Tidus cosplay sets, and they've got a Yuna minion for that one. So
finally be able to use our Vestments of Faith or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, man, we get access to the archive footage until August 31st? Thank God.
That is correct.
Now I can go back and watch it in July.
So they've also got the
Stormblood
stage schedule for days 1 and 2. Day 1, of course, taking place on Saturday, February 18th. That's actually coming up pretty soon. Like, I didn't realize how soon that was.
That's going to be
Wednesday is the first.
episode 101, right?
Yeah.
Of LBR?
Yeah.
Sloppy.
God damn it.
Daddy, you make Juxta's panties very #sloppy.
True strike.
The imaging.
Gross. So if you want to see that schedule, it is pretty similar to all of the other schedules. Although there's one that really interested me on day 2, and it's called When Musicians Collide.
Oh.
Now, that is really cool. Now, we know that Susan's going to be out there. She's confirmed that she's going to be out for the European Fan Fest. And that's going to be, the wrap-up of day 1, the piano concert.
Uematsu did say he hoped to have a new, announcement based on the theme song at the European Fan Fest. So maybe it has something to do with that?
It could, but I don't know. When you the name of the event is When Musicians Collide.
I hope
Sloppy.
it is.
First donation I've made, and it's because of the sloppy.
God damn it.
Juxta knows what the people want. I'd give more, but I'm broke.
Shut up.
Do you realize, Diabolos, do you realize what you just said?
Juxta knows what the people want.
Juxta is always right.
I think Juxta might. No dead air.
This is what it's like when musicians COLLIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIII
raped.
I bet that it's gonna be like Final Fantasy XIV Battle of the Bands.
Real, but like what bands though?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
would it
They
be like
could have got
Soken
some
versus
local
Susan
bands.
versus Uematsu?
No, they could have got some like local bands or something. I don't know.
Dude, Uematsu versus the. Oh no, he's
Power
the
Rangers.
Primals.
5000.
Guys, the Black Mages reunite to
No,
battle the bands
shut
with the
up.
Primals.
Yes!
No.
my
Okay.
god!
No,
Well, no,
it's not
Uematsu
going to
has a
be
band.
any.
It's not called the Black Mages. It's called Earthbound Papas.
Dude, it's
So
not,
let's
and
take
it's not.
Earthbound Papas versus Primals. That
No,
would be the best
it
thing ever.
can't. It can't because they've got the Primals concert later that night. They're not gonna blow their wad early in the day.
I bet it's just going to be
true.
like a. Oh, hey. I just think it's just going to be like a normal panel and talking about music.
Or it could be that.
Oh, that'd be lame. Compared to like a battle of the bands between two of the most epic FF-related bands ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny though that they used the terminology when musicians collide, and they had all of that bullshit with Power Man
Maybe
5000.
they're bringing Power Man 5000.
No, Nika, God damn it, Nika! Stop making me yell at you.
This is why we can't have nice things. And also,
God.
Juxta.
Has this been the best episode ever? I think it has.
I
I
don't.
think so.
No,
This is like the fake episode 100. It's the ultimate episode.
no, it's not.
You're all
It's
terrible.
the penultimate episode.
We do absolutely nothing for episode 100. It's just a normal episode,
Guys,
completely.
Look at my fat chocobo sitting on the light.
One is episode
Great.
100.
Anyway, all right. So if you want more information about that, obviously head on over to the Lodestone. And then there was this story that was circulated midweek. Apparently, FF14 is getting a live action series
Called...
Wait, you mean like in Eorzea?
No, no.
What?
It's so I guess the setup for the plot of the show is that there's this father and son, and they have this kind of strained relationship, awkward relationship, and somehow the dad gets a hold of like a used PS4 or something, and they both end up playing FF14, and the son ends up helping the dad on the game, but the dad doesn't know it's the son. That's sort of the premise. That's sort of the premise of
Kind
it.
of cute.
Yeah.
Does this have a title yet?
What's the title?
It's called Daddy of
No,
Light.
it's not. It's called Father of Light.
No,
absolutely
it's not.
called Father of Light.
Are we
Nika,
sure that this
It
isn't
is.
just
the,
a fan
The word they use
about
in
Nero?
Japanese is Otosan. If
Nika.
they wanted it to be Daddy of Light,
Stop.
they would
Oh
have
my
used
God.
Chichi.
N-
I'm
Nika,
telling you.
Nika.
It's
Your mute
Otosan.
is showing.
It's Father of Light. I refuse to hear anyone. I'm no fun.
Sloppy.
It says Daddy.
I was going to donate 5, but since Annie Arrow shit on me the other day, this is payback. Wahaha.
You shit on Isaac Newton?
I don't know. Did I? I shit on a lot of people, and I just don't remember.
The best way to piss him off is to be scientifically inaccurate about stuff.
It's called alternate facts.
But
you
Nika, if you go and you look at the actual promo picture that was put up by the FF14 staff themselves, it
Go
says
back and forth
on it.
everything I read.
It says
Daddy and Father.
It says on it, Daddy of Light. I'm quoting.
The word me.
I'm quoting the fucking promo image released by Square
That's not
Enix.
the word that they used in the Japanese, though.
That
They
is
didn't use the word for
absolute-
daddy. They used the word for father.
That is absolutely the name that they put on this promo image. It says
I don't care. I
Daddy
refuse to
of
acknowledge
Light.
that.
I was actually
in English, it says Daddy
I
of
was
Light.
actually
no,
going to
it's
back
stupid.
up
It's
Nika.
stupid. I refuse.
Nika.
So true.
I was going to back you up. Like, I was going to be like, no, it's supposed to be Father of Light. But because you're so adamant and being so weeby about it, nah.
Look at
it's
this.
Daddy of Light.
Look at this. Look at
I'm not
that.
being baby. I legit took 4 college semesters of Japanese. This
Sounds
is
like
from
a
my
weeb to
actual
me.
knowledge of the language. It doesn't
Weeb
say
alert,
daddy. It says
weeb alert, weeb alert. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, we have drops. It.
When did you turn his drops? Wait, were you just trying drops in the hopes that you had one?
Look at this. I have now put this on the goddamn screen. Everyone in the chat can see this. It says very clearly, Daddy of Light.
Doesn't that sound like some low-key porno or some shit?
It so
sure
does.
does.
Oh,
Featuring a Nero and Juxta.
Absolutely.
Yes!
This absolutely sounds like one of the fanfics that got sent to us in the last couple of weeks.
Oh God!
Wow,
Oh my
chat is savaging Nika right now.
Wow.
It's a fucking.
I do like the arm of the daddy savage.
Arm of the daddy. I swear to God, this. So some people have said this has got to be an April Fool's joke, which I guess I could kind of see. Square Enix is pretty
But
good
it's
with their
so
April Fool's jokes, but it's
cute.
that. That's such a long thinking. Like
It's January, dude.
yeah, that's like That's really planning out your April Fool's joke.
I mean, unless they're planning to release it on April Fool's Day.
But
then
you,
they're like,
no, you
"No."
announced it on April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
We're getting the daddy of Light.
the daddy thing aside, this could actually end up being pretty neat.
Except I didn't get past the title. There's more to it.
I'm not. Look.
Yes.
Japan has worse dramas out there. Like this one might not be as bad as half of them.
I'm just gonna say that whatever the U.S. adaptation of Daddy of Light is never gonna happen. You're never gonna see this outside of you know
Get a subtitled version, I bet.
shut.
Oh
No.
God! No, it's back. We will. That will happen.
Someone on YouTube, I'm sure they will. But I mean, like honestly, like this.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
There's no way. There is no way that Square Enix calling the FF14 live action series Daddy of Light that's not a Limit Break Radio reference. That is absolutely a Limit Break Radio reference. That is 100. We gave them that.
And just remember, it just reaffirms the fact that Juxta is always right. Right, Daddy?
No.
Juxta, do you like movies about gladiators?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just checking.
Wow.
That is outstanding.
Yeah, I can't. It's really funny.
Can we get in touch with someone on the SE community team and get confirmation here? Like this has to be.
All
us.
right, look. They've already said that there aren't plans for an English localization. That means we're going to have to do a fan translation.
No, we're gonna do the abridged series of it.
We can do one of those misheard lyrics things where like we just put whatever we think they're saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bad lip reading.
Yeah.
There you
it's
go.
bad lip
Peck
reading.
Mech the First has it. Daddy of Light, a story about murder rape 2017.
Oh my God.
The cast of
jeez.
SVU in this.
What does Olivia Benson have to say about this?
How
Dong dong.
how exactly do you do the genetic testing for cum stains in FF14?
It's magic, man.
Well, you got to call a GM and
Just
get them to
corrupted Aether.
You
look
gotta
back
call
on,
a GM. I like
get
that.
them to look back on it.
All
Are our
right.
guests still going to be willing to appear on this show?
Hopefully,
I'd have
Are
left
they
if I were
still
them.
there?
well, we'll see. So joining us, we have a couple of guests from the Speakers of Heidelin show. They have been working on their network, growing their network over at youtube.com/speakersxiv. And we welcome them into the show, the hosts of Speakers of Heidelin. How's it going, guys?
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah.
Hello, friends.
So,
Hi.
okay. So, Kooky, our producer, She was responsible for putting the finer points of this interview together. And then this morning, her sister decided that this was a great moment to go have a baby.
Decided to have a
You know what? Now's the time.
Now is
Get
really
this thing out
the
of
best
me.
time to do this.
You lose.
So, well, there was questions on who exactly was going to be joining us today. So, can you guys go ahead and just introduce yourselves to the Limit Break Radio audience?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm Lukile Bravestone. I'm the sort of the main host of the podcast Speakers.
You're
of
the Aniro of speakers.
Wow.
Yeah,
what a
don't compare
compliment,
yourself to him.
Yeah, that's very rude to our guest.
He was not complimenting you. Who should be mad?
And then we have, I guess, Orange, our
hello,
my
I'm-
sidekick.
You sound like
I'm Orange
Juxta.
Caramel.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, who did you say you are?
Orange.
Oh, Orange.
Orange Caramel. Yeah, I have a lot of nickname, but this one is my Final Fantasy 14 one.
All right. Well,
And I joined the Speakers Network last year.
very
Yeah,
cool.
his name is his name is actually the name of a K-pop group.
Oh,
You really
what
are
did
the
you have to
Juxta.
say? It was necessary.
This may be
You had to call him out.
this may be an uncomfortable interview for you. Wow. I didn't know it was going to be that. I didn't know that we were doing that today. Okay, all right. No, I'm kidding.
pretty bad.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's all right. Most of our names are from J.R.R. Tolkien's language, so
yeah, you
that's
fucking nerds.
Mine's from Persian. but
Says the
okay.
guy with the math name.
yeah.
Math.
Math.
No,
Math.
English.
English.
Linguistics, my
Wow,
bad.
You are dumb. God, you're
So
dumb.
bad.
Anyway,
I don't have a drop to describe how dumb you are. Wait, here's one.
so
Well, that was dumb.
there you go.
Pretty
So
dumb.
the Speakers Network has been you guys gained a lot of attention when you started a series called The Fall and Rise of Final Fantasy XIV. Now, I mean, you guys have been doing Speakers of Highland for a while, but this series in particular really got it got a lot of people to pay attention to what was going on the network and on the channel. So, where did you guys get the idea for doing these video series?
Well, I think it started like way back, but I think it was in a podcast episode. I was talking about 1.0, and we got a lot of comments about, like, a lot of people haven't played 1.0, and to them it's like a mythical time that, you know, for some it's not even. It's hard to find information about 1.0 like in video form.
It was hard to find information about 1.0 during 1.0, so that's kind of forgivable.
Very true, very true. So I just thought, you know, someone has to do it. So I just went on.
Why not me?
Well,
yeah.
and what's interesting is, I mean, like, I always thought, like, dude, you could do like a very serious like this has never been done. A relaunch of an MMO like this has never ever been done in gaming history. You could do a really fascinating documentary long term about, you know, what the transition from 1.0 to 2.0 looked like, and then the overall arc of the whole game, and that would be incredibly interesting. And you guys you guys condensed 1.0, and I guess it didn't even occur to me, but like how interesting 1.0 is for the folks that never really got to check it out.
Oh yeah. Like, if looking at 1.0, it's like, how did this happen? How did this game happen?
It really, I mean, yeah, like, that is a pretty important question because 1.0 tried to do some very different things in the world of MMOs, and like what I appreciate about the video series is you guys go through not just the development history and the development process, but sort of like the staff transitions that were going on in the background. And obviously, you know, Yoshi P coming in and taking the helm, very important part of that entire narrative that was established for, you know, just for the way that the game evolved over time. So there was no way to not address that. But I mean, I've learned a lot from your guys' videos that I didn't even know, being so closely involved with, the way that 1.0 developed and being a critic of it. Like, you guys had like taught me kind of a lot through your own videos, and yeah, I really appreciated that perspective of seeing how the game evolved and how the staffing changes affected that.
The real question is, do you know anything more about Henger's Crucible?
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, no.
I think one of my favorite things going through the first couple of videos there is, like, it's so interesting when you're hearing about 1.0 in the abstract, and I just recall back to actually playing it and being like, this is so bad. It's so it was borderline unplayable. I have never so quickly turned on a game and been like, oh no.
I don't know why I stuck it out for so long.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because I was still long distance with CERN, and it was like neither of us really wanted to play 11, so that was still what we had. I'm not really sure.
Well, there was
something that I was like, this is really bad. My mouse barely moves across the screen. Leveling takes 10,000 years, but I don't care.
There was that whole
anyway. I don't know why.
The whole attachment to FF11, I think, had a lot to do with the people that ended up sticking around with that game. But you guys went through very specifically and identified, some of the reasons that 1.0 ended up failing. And so, what do you guys think the difference, the main difference between 1.0 to 2.0 is that turned around the sentiment? Because once you have that sentiment, it's so hard to turn that around.
Well, what 1.0 did that they sort of stopped with in 2.0 was putting like ludicrous restrictions on pretty much everything you could do. Like,
true.
When you logged on to 1.0, everything was a chore. Like like the fatigue system, for instance, where you would earn XP for a certain amount of time. I think you had like 8 thresholds, and after that, you would start losing EXP.
Right,
you would start like getting in less and less.
I barely even remember that was a thing.
You get punished for playing too much.
Yeah.
Not that anyone wanted to play too much. Good lord. I never made it to the first threshold.
I still remember the one time that I was thinking about playing, I was talking to Juxta, and I'm like, what's it like? And he goes, okay, you know how Final Fantasy XI had a problem with too many menus? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. Compared to FF14, no, it didn't.
Yeah, 14's UI system was also pretty fucking awful. It was, you had to like wait for, like, everything was server side.
Yes.
So when you opened a menu, you had to wait for the server response.
Wow.
And if there was a lot of people online, you could wait a long time until that menu opened.
Yeah.
And there was no hotkeys, of course.
I remember walking out into Thanaland for my first time and being like, how far out do I have to walk before enemies start spawning? And my friend was just like, well, no, they spawn right at the gate. And it's just a barren wasteland everywhere you look. Like,
you know
that's
why?
interesting, because they're all dead.
Because I was killing all the marmots, thank you very much.
Juxta was doing his job. So 1.0 was an incredibly interesting time for the development of this game and the development of this world. And in fact, many references that we get now in the narrative refer back to things that happened during 1.0. And I find that kind of like lineage really interesting, that long-term sort of like, this is it. You can get references to things that people had played through, but only like a certain segment of your population has a real strong context for that. And I think that that's one of the most interesting things that 1.0, that the transition from 1.0 to 2.0 and then 2.0 and beyond sort of played with and really became a huge influential aspect to how the narrative ended up unfolding moving forward. So where do you guys think that the original 1.0 narrative may have taken us? Because we're hearing now that we might be getting back to some of those themes as of 5.0, as of, after Stormblood. So thoughts on where the original the original storyline may have taken us?
Well, the main story in 1.0 was supposed to be about the Garlean Empire. It was supposed to be. We don't really know for sure what the actual like plans, because obviously the the original 1.0 storyline was cut short very quickly. But it seems like they might be headed back to the Garlean theme, and we're already seeing it now with Stormblood, seeing as Garleans are really popping up there as well. So I'm I think 1.0 left behind a lot of loose threads that they can just pick up around, because it's part of the lore. And also when they transitioned into 2.0, it was very important to them that the 1.0 players felt welcome in 2.0, but also make sure that the people that left 1.0 didn't get reminded of 1.0 when they started playing 2.0. So they've been like sort of picking the best of 1.0, which...
Right.
But you don't think that there's any loose threads from the story that are just totally squashed now, or you think that they are all able to just be picked up anytime they want?
I think, I mean, the main story in 1.0 was very barren. There's not a lot of threads
Okay,
to
but
pick up.
my sexy Mikote companion. what happened to her?
Nika, she died.
She's dead.
There was no confirmed, no body, no funeral, no dead.
No what? Someone I think it was in an email once.
If Thancred can be out living on his own in rags, fighting out in the wilds with no contact to anyone, so could my
Okay,
Mikote
but you know what?
companion,
Thancred probably has something special going on about him. Someone said there's in an email that there's a cutscene somewhere that mentions the area that your companion goes to was basically fucked. And anyone who went there is fucking dead.
No, okay.
Was there really? Because I remember that last cutscene where my companion's like, oh, she gets really upset and she's like, fine, I'm just gonna go meet you there, and she like takes off really upset and she goes somewhere in the Shroud, and then the story just ends.
She goes to West Shroud. It's over. It's done.
Yes.
Anything that was in West Shroud is just gone.
Yes, she's dead. Nika.
No. I like the more idea of that Nika's Mikote friend is out there, but she just doesn't want to come back to Nika.
No, she flirted with me every other sentence. She loved me.
She was trapped, Nika.
An abusive relationship.
I bet,
yes.
Look, that's just one of the NPCs that you run into in Palace of the Dead now.
Oh yeah,
dead. You didn't even know it. You killed her. You killed her again, and you didn't even know it. Good job, Nika. Way to go. Way to go.
Don't worry, she's in hell with all of your Metal Gear Solid 5 squad mates.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty safe to say that the Path Companion was just something that just left. They left that ship.
Oh yeah, that's a big dangling plot thread right there. So where do you guys get the footage for a lot of the material? Because like there was an interview that Hiromichi Tanaka gave that I'm sitting there, I'm watching it on your guys' video. I'm like, I've never seen this. I've never, because it was really surprising. Hang on, we got a donation here.
Starting a fund for Nika's therapy.
Thanks, Mr. Jack. Appreciate it. But yeah, that interview with Tanaka where he like just flat out did not have an answer for what this interviewer asked. Like that was really fascinating to me. Where did you dredge some of those up, man?
Just a lot of hours in Google.
Oh my gosh! Hang on, we got another donation here.
It's not you, it's her. She'll let you know if she needs you again. #by Felicia.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
There's like a feature in Google where you can search in specific time periods, and that saved my ass a lot.
Oh wow!
So I have only gotten results from 2010, 2011.
Yeah,
and I was surprised too, because a lot of his interviews are, yes, you've probably seen, they're very amateurish, and like he seems confused and not interested.
He does. He's so bored.
And
it's really weird.
It's called real investigative journalism, and it's something we don't do around here.
That's fair. You know, one of the things that I always thought about 1.0, especially like looking back on it when you sort of reflect on it, is that a lot of the game decisions in 1.0 seem to be driven by don't be WoW. right? Like,
yeah.
To the point of folly. Like, I feel like there were so many people that were like, around the time that FF14 was being designed, they were being very vocal about the fact that they didn't want another WoW clone, but they weren't very vocal with what exactly that meant. So it seemed like every decision was like, make this contrast what World of Warcraft does, and that seemed to be really not the direction. Like, nobody liked that. Like,
no one did that.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you guys ever get that in your time with 1.0?
Oh, all the time. Like, I don't know why, but I played it till the end for some. I don't know why, but there were times when I played this and I was like, "What? Why am I playing this?" But I mean,
you guys
to
just
me,
have piles of money that you could spend on this game, because Nero and Nika both played it to the end too.
Well, they made it free. They I mean, like,
it was free until like the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
You did have to pay for a few months.
Yeah, and by then they had kind of already outlined their plan for 2.0, and it was like, look, you stay in this thing, and we're gonna roll your character data over and everything. So it was like, at that point, you did sort of feel like you were building in an investment. So
yeah, and there was also the sort of the you sort of felt like this game is going to get better, right? It's gonna get better. So you just I want to see how this ends or how it turns out, and well, it did get better in the end.
It did, but only after they started adding more aspects of WoW into the game.
Yeah,
like that was really this kind of sad part.
So predictable.
And it was like all of those people who were like, yeah, don't make it like WoW, suddenly were like, oh, this is a lot better.
Maybe make it a little like WoW.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted it to be like they said, yeah, don't make it like WoW, make it more like 11. And he tried to make Final Fantasy 11. I say he, but I mean the entire dev team or Square Enix wanted to make Final Fantasy 11 HD, which sadly didn't translate that well in the new MMO market at the time. So that's basically where they really screwed up. Like, they made it too. It's hard to explain really how bad 1.0 was, and I'm talking about 1.0 here. I'm not talking about like 1.23b. One could argue was playable,
like launch 1.0. Yeah.
Launch 1.0. I remember like being level 10 and getting invited to a party, like an old school FF11 style party where we're gonna go around and farm mobs.
An XP party. I was in a few of those.
Character level 10 or job class level 10.
I was level 10.
Ooh.
And
remember they had that separate.
I
can
remember
still
that.
say
Yeah.
that my first level 50 was my shield, not my sword, not a wand, no, my shield.
Yeah, I got into that group and they were all mad at me because I didn't have any healing moves, and I'm sitting there like, I'm on Lancer. Am I supposed to? I'm sorry. I didn't know.
I remember farming like 2 jobs to 50 though in the Beastman strongholds, even later on in the game.
Oh,
we would make parties of like more than, because the max party could go pretty high back then, right?
It went
I
up to
remember
15.
like making alliances or some bullshit and like going into the Beastman strongholds and just like people at power level. You get people at like highest level and then get people like 8 levels below, and you just power level them up.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I think this game maybe wasn't any good. Maybe it was just garbage.
You don't say. No, yeah, it was really bad. Like, also, if you're thinking about the leaves, just the leaves. I remember they hyped the leaves so much before the launch, and when we finally got into the game, you could get 8 leaves every 36 hours.
Yeah,
that's something you mentioned in the first video that you guys did. How much they were hyping up leaves as kind of like the next like method of designing MMOs, and I had forgotten how much like pre-release footage and everything went to leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, my party, we always cheese them. Like me and Surin and our best friends, we would just make sure we all had the same leave quest, and then you would farm the XP, purposely fail the leave, and then restart it so that you wouldn't lose it. And you just do that over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But like
Nika exploding again.
SE really thought that like leaves were going to be the next big thing in MMOs, and they just weren't.
All right. So I just went into my living room and I got the original FF14.
Oh wow! Look at Derplander
box. Yeah. And Escalia, here, I'd like you to take the box, and I'd like you to look at the back of it.
Sure.
And I'd like you to tell me the selling points for this fucking video game, please.
So there's 2 major selling points underneath the big "Welcome to Eorzea" banner.
Which, I mean, Why don't you
Let's
tell
read
us?
that,
Yeah,
sure.
tell us a
So,
little bit about Eorzea.
It's got a nice picture and says, "Welcome to Eorzea. The age of adventure has begun. Join players across the globe as you enter a stunning world of endless opportunities. Gather a band of steadfast companions and battle ferocious creatures in the wilds. Hunch over an anvil and forge a wondrous blade of legend. Relax in a tavern with friends and swap tales of your latest exploits. The story of Final Fantasy XIV is founded on the path of your adventures."
So you
It
could
sounds like it's selling me a role-playing game.
You could have been describing Dark Age of Camelot. You could have been describing Ultima Online.
That's
There's
correct.
like a bajillion games that description. I'm pretty sure that they copied and pasted that from a Breath of Fire game. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Underneath that on the left, it has a big picture with a caption saying, "The Armory System."
The Armory System.
Change
Best system.
Change classes by simply equipping a different weapon or tool. That is one of the 2 bullet selling points of this game.
Nika, don't you try to defend that. Don't you try to defend that.
11 when we had to go back to the Mog House to change jobs, like it was actually a cool thing when we could just change in the open. That was a big deal.
That
in
was
1.0.
that was their big selling point. Like, oh,
But
no
that's-
more log
It was
houses.
a big deal in 1.0. It really was.
But that's one of 2 selling points. Escalia, please tell us the second selling point for Final Fantasy XIV 1.0.
And on the right, Guild Leaves. Undertake missions known as Leave Quests, a wide assortment of activities that change daily.
You know why they call them leave quests? Because everybody left.
That's exactly what everyone
A
did.
wide assortment of activities. So
I remember like 4.
you
there were
run
like 4 different types.
run to a place, click a thing, kill a thing, get it to halfway health, have it run away, more things pop. That's one. What was the other one? Go to
There
a
was
place,
one
click a
where you had
thing,
to, like-
kill a thing. That was it. That's number 2.
There was one where there was like a whole bunch of items on the ground and you had to click them and like random stuff would spawn.
That's
my
right. Yeah, go to a place, click a thing, have a thing spawn maybe.
Hey, do you guys remember what the recommended system specifications on this game were?
Holy Christ, what
Are
was
you
it?
ready for this? These are the recommended specs, so they're the higher tier. Recommended. This is not the minimum.
Yeah.
But recommended. Windows 7, had to have Windows 7.
Yeah.
An Intel Core i7.
Wow!
It wanted an i7 processor.
They wanted an
for this
i7
game.
I've
in
never had
2011.
In 2017, things don't require an
I
i7.
still don't have an i7. Well, how did I play 1.0?
That's insane.
Well, the minimum was an Intel Core 2 Duo.
Okay, I was gonna say I had an i5 and I still have an i5.
It required 4 gigs or more of RAM and 15 gigs to install.
and that sounds about right.
The recommended for a graphics card was a GTX 460.
That's still
Holy
kind
crap,
of
that's humongous.
it like back then. Yeah, that's kind of.
I think that's what I bought for the relaunch for Realm Reborn.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
Wow.
And you have to remember, they had planned to port this to the PS3 at the time.
That is doubly insane. Like, how did they think that they were going to pull that one off? And in fact, when they did take the noticeably detuned system for A Realm Reborn and ended up putting it on PS3, the concessions that they had to make to do that were so jaw-droppingly awful.
Thor says in chat, we did Leaves last night. Worst 6 minutes of my FF14 career. He power leveled me through Leave quests, and yes, it was so fucking boring. How we retained 40 viewers is beyond me.
Honest to God, Leave quests were not the thing to really hang your hat on.
Like,
Come on now.
They looked at it like, well, what those quests and WoW? What if we
Dynamic questing.
Yeah, what if we take those WoW quests, but take any story out of them and just make them do them over and over again?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I have fond memories of failing leave quests on purpose with my friends, though.
Oh,
Gosh,
How do
you
you have fond
cheater,
memories of
Nika,
that?
you
Kidding.
cheater.
Obviously.
Because it was with my friends, I never would have. And like, I remember doing a few of them solo, and it being really hard. Actually, like the whole point of it was to leave Link with other people.
So to be fair, if you had had your friends with you, you would have had fond memories of eating sand.
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
It was rhetorical.
I'm just checking.
You know, as we sit here and listen to you guys tell us about all this awesome 1.0 stuff and some of the stuff you had to go through, like to find information and how hard it still is to find information, this whole thing, like going from 1.0 to 2.0 reminds me of like the Inquisition. Like Yoshi came in with his people and like fired everybody, killed Tanaka, then he's just like, burn it all.
That's pretty much what he did, though. So,
well, speaking of, episode 5 is dropping this week, and episode 5 focuses on Yoshida coming in and what he did, the changes that he made that ended up leading to eventually becoming a Realm Reborn. So, I mean, is there anything that you'd like to share with us? Any insight that you want to share with us, or just plug the episode if you want? I don't know.
The episode 5 is going to focus on probably the most famous part of 1.0's life cycle, and that is, of course, Dalamud, and how the story suddenly took like an abrupt turn. Like, if you logged in at, I can't remember exactly right now, I don't have the notes in front of me, but I think it's one of the last patches, so it's probably 1.23 or 1.22. When you logged in then, sometimes you would get a random nightmare cutscene if you logged out.
You logged out in a bed in the inn.
Yeah. And of course, the massive event that a lot of people, I'm very surprised by this actually, but there's a lot of people commenting on my video that is defending 1.0, which to me is a bit weird, but
that is weird. You're not alone. That's
weird.
Yeah,
no, you're not
weird.
wrong.
Yeah.
They when they think about the end of 1.23b, they think about the epic Dalamud and the fighting and all that was happening between the Alliance and the Guardians. But when you were there, it was not as glamorous, because those servers, they did not like that event.
Yeah. I know that Fusion X had recorded the final FF14 event, and the thing about that event was
I don't remember having issues with it.
Well, I do. The server stability was garbo.
I mean, that might be true. I just might have blocked that out. I remember the actual event though, logging in and finding like a friend I hadn't found in a while, and then we got to meet up at FanFest. Yeah. That was cool. But like all this, I just remember logging in and seeing like the massive swarms of people just coming and attacking the city and thinking how cool it was. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I mean, some of the city zones were okay. I mean, I remember trying to be out in Korthus. I don't think I ever even got out to Korthus. There, like looking when you actually look at footage of people who were smart enough to record that, like who were thinking like, oh, this is going to be a moment in history. Like, it's not much to look at. Like, it really isn't. I know for a fact that Fusion X had definitely recorded his experiences and had shared them on Gamer Escape. But you're right. I mean, like, that event was so chaotic. Like, it was fun. In when it worked, it was really fun.
That's true.
And the thing that you got to remember is that, the servers were under such extreme load because the last couple of weeks they had allowed anyone who had ever had an active account to log in. So, while they had reinstated the monthly bill, the monthly billing again,
subscription.
Yeah. They had, for the last couple of weeks, opened that back up to anyone who wanted to log on and participate. And so those final hours were just slammed. The servers were just slammed.
Yeah, to make it even worse, like that particular, it was a full week. So a lot of people joined, and the way that they had optimized the game, they had done it so that you could only see a certain amount of people or anything on screen at any given time. So
you know why they were doing that? Because before they had implemented the amount of character models that can be displayed at once, if you didn't know to limit it in your settings, it would burn people's video cards out of their machine. It would just overload video cards because like that. I mean, they just couldn't fucking handle it. I'm 99% sure that's what happened to my girlfriend's machine at the time.
Yeah, and also they had the ever famous flower pots that were.
Yes, there's that too. Yeah.
So you had that. So yeah.
But flower pots are important.
Are they?
# flower pot lives matter. Jeez.
Yeah. So the end of 1.23b was like, of course, it was a cool event, but it did have a lot of problems at the end. It had problems till the bitter end, you could say.
I think the thing that makes that event, like, people go back and put the rose-colored glasses on, because at the end of it, we got that, end of an era trailer that was, I mean, it like, in that moment, because if you were on, because I was definitely trying to be logged on for the final moments of when they were taking the servers down. I was, like, out of town
at the last second. I was so sad.
I
did the event, and then I was like, oh, damn, I can't be here. Because, like, they announced when the server was actually going to go down.
Yeah.
And I was trying so hard to be there, but I couldn't.
Yeah, and I had made the time to be there. And it, I kept having all the server problems, and then that YouTube video got passed around, and watching that was, I mean, it was so impactful. It was such a bold choice, because no one really knew what to expect. I mean, we knew that they were going to be retooling the world. We knew that there was going to be some kind of cataclysm. There was no way that Dalamud was growing larger and larger to, give Eorzea a hug. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that, we knew that wasn't going to happen. It was going to be something ominous and full of danger. But nobody.
The login, like when you logged in, there was like a timer counting down until Dalamud was gonna make an impact.
That's right.
I think it said like Dalamud impact in, and then it just counted down. That's
right.
Yeah,
that
remember
trailer,
that.
All the people that I've gotten to come and try Final Fantasy XIV, it's from just without saying anything. It's like, here, watch this trailer. They watch it and they're like, oh my god, what game is that? I'm like, I tell them the game, and I'm like, that's how it starts. Not a single person could have foreseen Bahamut coming out of that. And
I mean, I remember fully feeling the weight of it, though. Just like, I remember every single time there was a patch, like 1 point whatever it was, every new patch, Dalamud got bigger and bigger. And I remember the very last patch, I was like, it's so fucking big. What the hell is in that thing?
Your mom?
I thought it was just going to be like actual. Okay. I thought it was going to be like Meteor in an analogy more closer to FF7, but I mean, nobody imagined Bahamut. But I mean, it was. I remember just like I remember taking pictures, because after you complete the storyline, you got that horn, the Dalamud horn, and I remember standing out as close as I could get to Dalamud and taking pictures with the horn, and I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing right now.
Yeah, and like, I'm gonna be honest, like when. Like you felt the full weight of that, because I was one of these people, because I was involved with Gamer Escape and Aetheryte Radio, so I was one of these folks that through the development of 1.0 I was still commenting on it and still involved in it, not as heavily as I am now, but I was still very involved in it, and I was one of those advocates that was like, dude, the Black Shroud is so poorly designed and so difficult to navigate.
Burn it down.
That you have to destroy it. Like, you have to burn it to the ground and start all over again for it to be a navigable zone. And I remember when Bahamut emerged and everything is being destroyed, I'm sitting there thinking, like, not like this. Like, oh my god. Like, because it was such a bold move. It was such a it was, and I appreciate that. Like, I always appreciate bold direction choices, either in games or in media or whatever. And there was it was so bold that I was like, I'm so into this. And and there hasn't been a decision like that again ever since.
Yeah, I wish they would realize you don't have to end a game to do awesome stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
They didn't give up on it, so that like kudos to.
I mean,
Yoshi
that's true.
P
They
for
easily could have been like, "Oh, this was failed. Let's just scrap it and work on 15." But no,
Dude,
they decided to actually like bring in a new team and redo it. And I think that's part of what makes all of us have such good memories of the end of the game, is that everybody at that point was paying money. So if you were there, you really cared about something about the game, whether it be the franchise Final Fantasy or whether it be just memories within the game, whatever. All of us there were like, we love this game and we all want it to be better, and that's why we're paying money right now. Totally. And so I think when it all came crashing down at that point, that there was actually such a sense of like people just being in the world. There was such a sense of community between the people that were left in the game at that point. They were like, okay,
yeah, you're right.
I love this game. Like, we're ready for it to start over.
There was this very kind of like palpable feeling among the player base that was left in the final couple of months or the final couple of patches in 1.0 that like, you know, yeah, we're here on the promise of this next game. You know, we're here like this is, you know, we're going to make this work for you guys, but we're here on the promise of 2.0 that you've made for 2.0. And but that didn't prevent you from investing in what you were doing at that time. And man, yeah, you're right, because you felt that loss as soon as Bahamut emerged from Dalamud. And I mean, it was just because it was just, oh my God, I cannot believe the scale of this.
Yeah, and then the empty feeling you got when you realized that game is gone now. I have to wait for almost a year.
It was down for like 8 months or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a while.
It was an incredibly bold move on Square Enix's part, not just in a narrative sense, but in a business sense.
Yeah.
Such a surprising move, because you're right. They could have dropped it as a developer very easily.
That's what, like, I'm not surprised, like, I'm surprised that they didn't just choose to call it like, oh, this one flopped, call it a day, and let's go on to something else. Like, to actually say, you know what, we're going to redesign and reload and go again.
I think that it only got that because it had the name Final Fantasy.
I was going to say, think of how many other MMOs. I mean, I think Age of Conan or something like that, like closed after 2 months.
And it's more than that, Aniro. It's not just that it had Final Fantasy, it's that it had 14 on the end of it.
That too.
If that game had been called Final Fantasy 11-2, no way does it get...
Or like Final Fantasy Online, The Realm of Eorzea, without having a number on it.
Yeah, if it hadn't been one of the numbered titles of that series, absolutely not.
Yeah.
The numbered titles for Square Enix, they are like their most important franchise. So if they had left 14 like that, that would have damaged... And they even said so, like the... CEO of Square Enix, he had to publicly apologize, and he said that he had already sort of damaged the brand greatly. And they had to.
That was one of the things that at the time, as 1.0 players and as Square Enix fans, like, I think that was one of the first things where they had come out and addressed it that made everyone go, oh shit, like, they actually realize how bad this really is, and if they're willing to go that far, that they may actually have a plan to be able to pull this out.
Yeah.
And the fact that they pulled it off too is, I mean, they deserve all the credit in the world for that.
And they kind of knew that it was bad from the word go, because I remember when it first launched and first came out, me and my friends, we took 4 days off work over a weekend to do a LAN party for the launch of this game. Oh yeah.
You nerd.
For the launch of this game. And like the first 8 hours, we couldn't even get logged in to play. Like, you couldn't even connect to the servers. Finally, the servers became available. Then you get into the game. Your computer crashes 5 or 6 times in character creation. You're like, all right. Then you finally make your character, get into the game, and no enemies spawn. And you're just like, okay, when do we actually play?
Yeah.
Because I've been at this now for 17 hours, and I'm still level 1.
I actually remember that I actually quit for a month or two simply because they didn't have a client-side mouse. Like, the cursor in the game was server side.
I remember that.
And there was a patch around Thanksgiving that fixed it, and that's when I started playing again. It was like, I could not, because my computer back then was not as good as the one I have now.
Yeah.
And
also,
I couldn't.
Their patcher was torrent based.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy shit! I fucking forgot about that. Oh my god! That is 100%
You know what?
true.
I'm convinced Tanaka just wanted to be fired. He didn't want to quit. He's like, nah.
It really does. It does seem
I'm collecting unemployment.
I need that unemployment check, yo.
It's like, they're not even going to give me a window seat. Fuck it. They're going to show me out with security.
Like, could you imagine, like, when he's being, they're discussing all the specs and stuff. He's like, all right, so we're implementing the mouse and the patching, and Tanaka's like, those are all server side, right? and the people are like,
no. Why?
What? He's like, You heard me. They're server side.
No, straight up, like you start patching and it'd be like, oh, cool, this patch is going to be 76 hours. Let me exit out and log back in and try and connect to another like peer user in the area to try and download from them instead.
But that's the thing is that like because I see Diamolo saying torrent isn't bad, Blizzard's use torrent. But like the thing is that Blizzard was smart enough to make their system like if you don't get a good connection from a seed, then you move on to another one or you connect to multiple seeds.
This was so bad it didn't work.
No, it just didn't. It straight up didn't. And
so people had to like download them through shady websites.
Yeah,
people had to share patches, and it was a mess.
Our first patch I downloaded off some website that I think still like left viruses on my next computer.
Dude, I didn't even do that. I took the actual torrent file that the updater downloaded, and because the updater wouldn't fucking work properly, I had to load that into uTorrent to be able to download the fucking file and then put it in the correct pathing to oh my god, dude, I wanted to fucking lose my shit. It was the worst. It was like almost inexcusable for a game that was coming out in 2011 at all, period, to be that bad.
Launch 1.0 is what front did it succeed on?
None.
I can't think of one.
I think graphically, most people would agree that 1.0 looked good.
Yeah.
But the problem was that you couldn't actually run it.
I was saying it looked good if you could support the FPS on it.
Yeah, if you had the $7,000 computer to run it.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And the music was good.
The music was good. The music was great.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
It was mostly good. Some of it got a little bit repetitive, I think.
Black Shroud.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Black Shroud.
Yeah. The first time when you guys had your video,
composed the entire 1.0 soundtrack though.
In your guys' video, when you posted up the map of Black Shroud, I literally was like, oh yeah. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Hi, Yotor Jungle. How are you doing?
Yeah. I remember the Shroud and also the areas around Mordona. Kurthus was bad too.
Kurthus, yeah. Kurthus was pretty tough. Actually, no. I didn't like Mordona. I loved Kurthus. I loved 1.0 Kurthus. I thought that was probably one of the most fascinating zones in the game.
Yeah, Curtis.
I mean, that's one of the things I missed, though, is I remember, like, they had open world NMs that were probably not the smartest choice, because I remember waiting forever to kill some of those. But there was
Six
we talked about on the
Arms.
show before, that currently there's not much of a sense of danger in the game, because you can outrun anything or whatever. But back then, like, wasn't there some form of sneak and invis in that game, where you had to, like, run around and not be seen by things to get able to get to those open world monsters?
Yeah, I think there was definitely some kind of like aggro system that was a little bit more finely tuned than what we have now. But I remember like having to wait for mobs to turn their back so I can get past them on my chocobo.
Because they can knock you off your bird, right?
Yeah, they can knock you off your bird. Yeah,
that's legit.
Yeah. Yeah, and they did place like random like level 70, level 99 mobs around, and there were rumors that GMs would just randomly fuck around with players and place just high level mobs because they were bored. At some point, there were barely players on, so the GMs were playing around.
Legit. How could they possibly have been bored? That game had GM calls constantly, I'd imagine.
So they were fucking with players out of spite.
Oh, honestly, that I believe. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
GM Dave getting his revenge.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, a question for you guys. For the future of the fall and rise of FF14, like, do you guys plan on looking at 2.0 and Heaven's Word, or is this pretty much solely focused on the 1.0 endeavors?
I'm still sort of working out the details on that, but the original plan was to continue and follow the entire game.
Nice.
That's actually really cool.
Thank you. Well, I also am splitting the series into two other projects. One looking at the main story for the 3 initial city-states. I did like a really condensed version in one of my episodes, but a lot of people wanted, because there's not much about because there's already videos out about the 1.0 to 1.23b storyline out on YouTube now.
Right.
But there's very little about the actual city-state main story. So I'm gonna make
you can go and like kind of watch the raw video of that if you want to read all of the title cards and all of the dialogue, but it's like a 3.5 hour watch, and I gotta say, if you can condense that down to like a good 15-minute digestible chunk, I'd watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yet you won't go watch the 12-hour explanation of the Kingdom Hearts storyline.
I absolutely will not. It literally that would honestly, I would fall asleep to that timeline every once in a while, and I'd wake up and it would still be playing.
So wait, you've tried to before?
I attempted to once because someone was like, yeah, you should probably, like have an idea of how that storyline works because it's a really good storyline. And I was like,
that's hilarious.
Okay, let's answer this YouTube video. Fall asleep to it, wake up, still playing. Fuck this, I'm done. I'm not trying anymore at that point.
I don't even do that with like, here's 10 hours of relaxing rain sounds.
Oh man, well that's cool to hear that the series is going to continue on past 1.0.
Get hyped!
That's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the podcast that you guys do on the channel as well?
Well, we do have a podcast called Speakers of Heidelin. It's pretty laid-back show. Orange, are you still here?
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
Hi.
I haven't talked yet because the 1.0 thing was mostly about Lukile. He made the entire series. I did nothing.
Yeah, that's an important detail.
You really are Juxta.
Yeah, nice job.
I do things.
Yeah.
I mean, Juxta just kind of gets to like glom onto all the shit that we do and coast by doing none of the work.
Someone will make an outline and Juxta will be like, yep, that looks good, I helped.
That's Orange.
You douchebag.
I've only started playing in 2.0, thankfully. Now that I know that 1.0 was a disaster.
Good for you, Orange.
But
Yeah. We're basically like a very, very casual podcast. We're usually 3 people. Lonigan, which we often call Gonigan, because he's barely ever around.
That's Gamer.
Yeah.
We've had one of those too. Don't worry.
In the biz, we actually have a buzzword for casual podcasts. It's called Aetherite Radio.
All right. Yeah. We also have like a little segment called "Who Wants to Be a Gillionaire," which is basically like a quiz show.
We're gonna steal
Final
that.
Fantasy themes. Yeah, you can.
Bad news. You'll be hearing that soon on LBR.
Property of LBR. Thank you very much.
So yeah.
That's awesome, man. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure that you check out their channel over at youtube.com/speakersxiv. Their Twitch channel is Speakers of Heidelin, but you can also find them on Facebook at SpeakersXIV and Twitter as well, SpeakersXIV. I understand that that problem of branding among social media and having one that's like slightly different from the rest of them, and then you got to kind of change, caveat that with the rest of them. Oh God, is that
it's a nightmare.
Yeah, no, I know how that is. Well, guys, we want to thank you for your time today and for hanging out on Limit Break Radio. Lukile from Speakers of Heidelin, as well as Orange Caramel, joining us today to hang out and talk about not only their show, Speakers of Heidelin, which you should check out, but their series, The Fall and Rise of Final Fantasy XIV, which you can check out on YouTube. Guys, Lukile, Orange, thank you guys so much for hanging out, man.
Thank you for having us. Bye.
All right. So we do have a little bit to talk about here, and if you'd like to sound off on this, we invite your calls. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you want to call in on Discord. But usually, we hold back our spoilerific story discussions for a while.
Mostly to piss off Nika.
And the other part of it is that like we usually hang back and wait for people who may not have enough time to devote to to playing this game.
Let's
doing
be honest.
multiple dungeons or
exactly.
battleground, stuff
Let's
like
be
that.
honest. We wait until Ethis can get on the show and carry us through the segment.
Well, we don't have Ethis here today to talk about it. And being that patch 3.5 was so light on story comparatively, we thought, man, we better put this as like the second part of a show. So again, thanks to Lukile and to Orange for coming on and hanging out with us here on Limit Break Radio. Check them out again. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, Speakers XIV, and twitch.tv/Speakers of Heidelin to check out all of their content. But we wanted to talk about the story of 3.5.
There will be spoilers.
So,
yep. If you don't want spoilers, bye.
Run now.
Yes.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
And again, you can the MSQ is you can do that in like 45 minutes tops.
Yeah, it's really fast.
I mean,
Depending
it is
on your queue time.
so quick. Zervin, you can do 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Dunscaith, depending on I have not done Dunscaith. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Not done Dunscaith because I can't queue into it.
Well, there's
It's a
no
pain in the ass.
spoilers from Dunscaith either, so there's nothing like that happens afterwards. It's like, oh my god.
Okay,
nothing's going to shock you in
fair. All right, fair. But then again, I'm also not that worried about spoilers. But I'm sort of using myself as like the baseline. I've had like less time than anyone else in this room in the past 2, 3, 4 weeks to be able to dedicate to actually playing FF14. And so if I'm able to get through it, like if I'm able to find the time for it, fuck, you should have been able to find the time for it too.
That if this was the launch of Heaven's Ward, even Kooky would be ahead of a Nero.
Yes. So I mean, I think using myself as a baseline example, and it was so quick. It was so quick. That I think that we can lift the spoiler iron curtain and talk about the 3.5 story, what little of it existed. Yes. So on not last episode but the episode before, we had talked about our reactions to 3.5. Or no, that was the last episode.
Week.
That was last week.
Last week, yep.
I was not here. Thank you guys for allowing my voice to rest.
You are very welcome.
I appreciated that.
It was my idea. Shut
I got to do some walking.
Thank you.
You ate some extreme sour?
I did.
Yeah.
How'd that help?
I mean, it didn't, but I mean, I got to walk to the store. I don't ever get to go take a walk.
You know what? We actually had a very real question for you. Did you urinate in Juxta's cup?
I mean, a little.
Okay, he did.
We were just curious, yeah.
Confirmed.
How'd you get it so cold still?
I mean, do you not have a plan for how this unfolds? If you're gonna have a good prank, you got to have a great plan. Just saying.
So he's not going to reveal it.
That's exactly.
A magician never reveals his tricks.
See, exactly.
I know how he did it.
No, you don't. Ice cubes.
You just take. Yeah.
Damn
it! He figured it out.
He just peed out
son of a bitch.
Nero at all times keeps a tray full of pea ice cubes in his freezer.
No, in Nero's magic, he drinks soda and he just pees pure soda.
He just rests his cock in like a bowl of dry ice.
Oh God.
Ow.
No, he just refrigerates his pee and then pours that.
So, spoilers, guys.
So, let's talk.
Spoilers, don't eat Nero's ice cubes.
Yes. Don't eat anything
Still
in my
better
freezer.
than our ice cubes in Flint.
Sloppy.
Sloopy.
Oh, that was a Don't look at me. I was about to rail on you so hard.
I'm keeping my end of the bargain.
Thanks, Agent Moon.
Kinda.
Appreciate it. So let's talk about the storyline quest for patch 3.5. Of course, starting with the main storyline quest.
Yes.
So
the Griffin. I mean, we've been getting set up for the Griffin for a patch.
Yep.
2 patches? Was it one patch or 2 patches? 1 patch?
3 patch.
I think it's just one.
Yeah, just one.
No.
Was it just
Yeah, 1 patch. 3.4.
3.4, yeah.
Something.
3.4.
So we've known that this is pretty much the guy who's been manipulating the resistance out in Alamigo, or in New Alamigo. The what you got?
Alamigo?
The refugees out there.
Yeah.
And has been whipping them up into a frenzy. And we got introduced to the character for the first time in the last series of updates. But now We go to Baelsar's wall.
Sure do. Not because we want to.
Not because we want to. Again, because we were. It seems like we were set up. We were definitely
very much set up.
Absolutely.
We were very much set up.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yep, to believe that.
Thanks, Alphino.
That something was going to go down there, and turns out that the Griffin is sending in his people dressed up like the Orzean Alliance,
the Grand Company.
And
the Grand Company.
Yep, all the different Grand Companies.
It's even more than that because he purposefully lets out the information that he's going to attack the wall, even though everyone knows, like, well, you're never going to be able to hold it, even if you take it. But the whole purpose of that was to get the Eorzean Alliance to mass their forces near the wall.
So
to make
it looks
it
like
even,
it really is us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is pretty brilliant, and I think the end game there. If I'm I'm caveating this with I think because it's been a minute, and I'm just trying to remember. But I think his end goal was to just push the conflict between the Eorzeans and the Garleans.
Yes,
and actually like force them to have it out.
Mm-hmm. He's totally trying to force the Eorzea to go to war with Garlemald, or rather for Garlemald to declare war on Eorzea.
It's a way to recruit us without actually recruiting us. Like, he doesn't have a big enough army to liberate Alamigo, so let's just unwillingly bring everyone else into it.
Yeah, right. like even if Eorzea is completely unwilling to ever invade Garlemald, by doing this, Garlemald's going to will try to invade Eorzea, and that divides their army and makes what army he has more effective.
Yeah, even if we don't actually go in to help Alamigo, which obviously we will, it takes some of the pressure off what they could possibly send to help put down a rebellion that may rise up.
Right. So, yeah, now the Orzean Alliance is really put in a very difficult position.
And Ishgard, too, is part of that.
If we don't help now, though, it looks like we just ran in and then let our own people get destroyed and then chicken out.
Nika is efficient as fuck when it comes to light farming. Hi, Nika.
Okay, Kuru. Thanks.
Hi, Kuru.
Good news, Nika. You're efficient as fuck.
At farming light.
I know exactly.
Oh, good. So, of course, the Griffin ends up being exposed as Ilberd.
Yeah.
But is anyone surprised about that?
No, that was
not really.
So, I was like, of course it's Ilberd.
Here's the question I have, though. If you guys remember at the end of, I think it was 3.4 or whichever it was when we actually found Papalymo and Yida again, right?
3.4, yeah.
Yep. After we first meet the Griffin and he walks off, Papalymo says, "I gave you that mask."
Really?
Yeah, What to Ida? Yeah,
I always
to
thought,
Ida.
I always
Okay,
thought
that I
he
made.
was saying it to the Griffin because what the?
No.
Why would he say that to Ida? What does that to be with? Oh, I gave you that man. Like what? Who cares?
If he was charged with her protection and her identity is the thing, like one of the primary things that they're protecting, then of course it would make sense that he would give her the mask.
Then it was like
I'm pretty sure that his actual remark was, "I never should have given you that mask." That's what he mumbled.
Okay, yes, and that's why I thought he was talking to the Griffin because the Griffin is using that mask to like put himself in a place of like power. Like people see that mask and know, oh, that's the Griffin. Like if he was trying to hide Yida's identity and he goes, oh, I never should have given you that mask because it got you found out. Like that doesn't make much sense with saying that to Yida. But the way that he said that seemed like he was.
Oh, I never once assumed that it wasn't to Yida.
On the other hand, like, why would he do anything to help Ilberd?
Exactly.
Because the
that
person
was my question.
That Yida runs into mentions that she, even though she has been out of Alamigo for 20 years, she looks exactly the same.
Yeah, so
she
what does that have to do with the mask?
She's 20 years older than she looks. And so my assumption was that Papalymo was using that mask in some kind of magic to keep her age suppressed so nobody would recognize it.
It's going to be Game of Thrones. She's 1,000 years old.
That is way, way too many assumptions right there. Now, the fact that he says, I never should have given you that mask, like, that's regret. He regrets giving a mask to... Why would he regret giving her a mask if they're trying to...
Sloppy. Callow's rationale is so sloppy.
Oh, Mr. Jack, shut the fuck up.
No, she said something to the person she met, and I think Papalymo was like face palming the entire time because she was trying to like go like, ha ha ha, hi, no, don't see me, I'm not here, and like kind of be like, no, nothing's going on with me, like really stupidly, and Papalymo was effectively just face palming. So I think then it was like, why did I ever give this
Just
to you?
doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't
to me.
actually make any sense at all because if she's trying to hide who she is, the mask would help her, not hinder her.
I don't necessarily think it makes any sense whether he's talking to either one of them. That statement doesn't make any sense to me.
That's why I figured that it had some kind of age suppressing thing, and maybe he was regretting now, like using magic on her or something.
Maybe. I don't
There's
think
like
so,
no
but-
like there's like no evidence at all that Yida has any magic on her whatsoever at this point. That's an unreasonable.
I just
assumption.
always thought that was a
Well, we know
weird
that her
line.
neck tattoos are fake. Whether or not it's magic or just fake tattoos, we don't know. But
No, I think Kala might be onto something with him talking to Ilberd. Like something could have happened between Ilberd and Papalymo behind the scenes that we don't know about.
I think that could set up a way better dynamic later, where especially Alphino finds out that after the betrayal, that Papalymo was still in contact with Ilberd and never said anything.
Yeah, I mean, but that seems like it'd be such a pointless thing to discover at this point with them both gone.
Is he though? Died off camera.
Oh, come
No,
on.
come on.
And,
no,
I mean,
Ilberd's
yeah,
definitely.
in I
No,
guess
no.
the same way that Louis Sua's death was off camera. I mean, it was almost the exact same fucking thing.
And did Louis Suave die?
Well, but look,
Also, there are a few differences. Louisa had like the power of a non-shattered tube samadhi.
That's true.
He was also going against a full-on elder primal Bahamut. This was
also
just
true.
a little newborn. We don't really know what it was.
Primal fetus.
it was gonna be Ralger, obviously.
Well,
Ralger fetus.
Still, it wasn't formed.
It wasn't fully
like Bahamut
Ralger.
was.
And he aborted it pretty well.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying that like Papalymo is just okay, right? But he's not necessarily dead. And if they were going to like the way that they did this, if they were finally going to be like, all right, guys, we'll give you a real Scion death. The way they did it was extremely
hang on.
poor.
Well, but okay, Louis Suave gets turned into the Primal Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next time we see a spell like that used is in the culmination of the 2.5 storyline when blonde bitch, I can't remember her name. She's been dead for so long. Minfilia.
Minfilia?
Minfilia. When Minfilia,
Blonde bitch.
yes. When Minfilia had used the teleportation or whatever spell she ended up using, she ended up becoming attached to Heidelin, or her essence ended up becoming attached to
did we actually see her
Heidelin.
use a spell? I thought she
No,
just
we
ran.
didn't.
I thought she
Minfilia
just
runs
ran
off
off.
screen, and we don't know what happened.
Yeah,
to
she
her.
doesn't use a spell.
Oh, I
We
thought
never see a
we
spell.
got a scene with her smiling. Which character did?
No. We see
No.
Y'shtola and Thancred. They use the teleport spell
Yep, and
get
Yida and
put into the
Papalymo, Yida
aether.
used a really huge like black mage. Not Yida. Papalymo and Yida like combined their stuff and did a big huge spell. But
Someone
there
had
was
a
nothing from
thematic
Minfilia.
smile
That was Yida.
Was it?
Because her mask was shattered. You could
Her
see
mask
her eye.
chipped. You could see one of her eyeballs.
Yeah. I always assumed, and
No,
I think
thought the fade to white with the smile that we got from Papalymo in this, I thought was repeated at least one other time, but I could be wrong.
I
on
was
that.
actually really disappointed that Minfilia, like, she gets like a link pearl call and she's like, oh, Heidelin calls me. Bye! And she just runs off
Yeah.
screen, and you're like,
You got nothing
oh,
from
okay,
Minfilia.
Sure,
Yeah,
let's
Yeah, she
go.
died Felicia's.
all right.
Felicia's. I don't know. I feel like that was such a letdown. Like, if that's really just his final death, that was just such a letdown. Like, out of all the
who are we talking
times
about
that
now?
were like
Papalymo.
Papalymo's death, out of all the times that were like that should have been better, you know, they could have done that so much, you know, blah 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 blah. That death was just such a letdown.
No way. Okay, this is what's gonna happen. Is that obviously like this was supposed to mirror Louis Ball. Like Louis Ball was the teacher, Papalymo was the pupil. He did like the same exact thing to capture the primal. We now have Ralger or some semblance of Ralger trapped in a new Dalamud. What's gonna happen is we're gonna now use the prayers of the people to summon Papalymo back as a summon, and some bullshit's gonna happen. Or we're gonna have to fight Papalymo.
Here's like if that was actually
It's gonna
Papalymo's
mirror
end,
Louis Ball. We had to fight Phoenix, which was Louis Ball. We're going to have to fight Papalymo.
All right. All I know is that Papalymo is coming back. There's no way that after that he's done.
Yeah, main characters are immune to explosions.
But I don't
not
think
even
he's
that.
alive. I think he's going to be the same thing as Louis Ball.
Not even that. You never kill a main character off screen and then don't bring them back. It was the same thing for Minfilia. She ran off screen and vanished. She died, I guess, sure, 'cause she's part of Heidelin now or whatever. But point is, she died off screen and they did something else with her. You know who they didn't do anything else with? Moonbreeda. Because we saw that bitch die.
and then buried her.
Did we?
But
I hope not.
Yeah.
You sure she's not just in Urianger's closet?
Yeah.
And the top of the correct dolls.
My biggest issue, like, if he's actually dead, I think my biggest problem with that would be that, like, his 2.55 death was way better. Like, that was way more, like, those two, like, making their final stand and dying and perishing after their move, that was a way better final moment than this was.
See, I don't know. I actually got really emotional to this one.
Think about when Louis Suave dies or whatever. When it happens in that cutscene, like you think that he's about to be trapped, and then it, like, explodes and, like, blinding white light, he's gone, right? Papalymo actually finished the summoning. Like, you can see, like, the big, like, prison out there,
Yeah,
right?
Actually, yeah.
So
down.
there's so many differences. He has an incomplete Tube Samadhi. He has a primal fetus that he's trying to trap, and he actually traps it, whereas Louis Suave had the spell backfire on him. He was doing it against Bahamut, and he used the full power of Tube Samadhi. I don't think that we are done seeing Papalymo. Now, I'm not saying that he's alive like, you know, you and I, where he's just normally, oh yeah, guys, don't worry, I was unscathed. He definitely did not get out of that, but Papalymo is coming back.
Unfortunately, I probably agree. If we see him again,
I'm okay in this sense, though. This makes sense for him to come back. It did not make sense for the Sultana to come back.
Right.
But I think he's going to come back in a way that he's never going to be able to return to the Scions. And
Probably not. Yeah, I agree with that.
He's either going to be dead or he's going to have to use his magic into some other form or something in order to actually stop.
Or he has some type of time limit on him. Like there's
honestly,
something.
Someone in the chat suggested he might become tempered by Rhalgar too, which would be cool because we've never seen that happen to a Scion.
I'm actually expecting this to backfire because if Rhalgar is the gods of the monks and all of that, and we're going into Alamigo, like who's to say this isn't going to backfire and lead us into Stormblood?
Oh no, it definitely is going to backfire.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's like that.
There's no way we can just go out and destroy this new Dalamud and just be like, oh, that's it, done, the end.
Yeah, that prison orb isn't just going to continue sitting there because either like eventually the Garleans are going to come take that wall back and be like, hey, what's that? And probably screw around with it.
Yes.
Or
think about it. So he comes back, whether he's tempered or he's some weird aborted primal abomination, and then we also somehow learn that, you know, he was working with Ilberd in some way. That's gonna fuck with Alphino, because Papalymo was, you know, it says in the new title that you know, Louis Suave's finest student. He was one of like his most trusted scions, one of the most trusted advisors, and if he was skulking around with the enemy behind his back, then that's going to mess with how he trusts other people as well.
Especially after Urianger.
Yes, so after the Urianger thing, and even if Papalymo doesn't come back, right? If he was skulking around with Ilberd and we find that out through a tertiary source, that's something that's going to mess with... what's his name? Alphino. That's going to mess with Alphino's head.
I gotta say, these Scions are really bad at being honest with each other. Although, to be fair, like, I guess Papalymo wasn't really there for a good bit of that. Him and Ida were gone for the bulk of that story arc, but nevertheless, like, the Scions, I think they could solve an awful lot of problems. They just, like, tell each other what's up.
Does seem that way.
Are we part of the worst club ever, maybe?
Xanther, they changed it. The original title was Papalymo's Final Witness, but it was a mistake in translation. It was super spoilery. So they changed it to, what was it, the Finest Pupil's Ally or something?
Yeah, the Finest Pupil's Ally.
Which is still a terrible title.
So
really bad.
What did you guys...
I wonder though, but looking at the original title, I feel like if you break that down, like the Final Witness, just on itself, the Final Witness was the title for beating T13. Was the title for beating Bahamut. And I feel like that Papalymo's Final Witness, to me, kind of proves he's not coming back, or at least
he's not coming
as
back
he is.
As he is, yes.
I think he'll come back in a different way. Because, yeah, like, Papalymo's Final Witness, that'd be pretty definitive.
I don't know. I'm still waiting for that Harshiphon Ixion fight.
Yeah, Nico.
Well, that's going to be great.
I liked that theory.
I really did, too. It was a great theory.
It's not happening, guys.
No.
It would have had to happen during Heaven's Word.
Yeah.
One thing that I did think was interesting in this is Ida is, like, she seemed done to me when this ended. She, like, I mean, I know she's just really talking out of hurt right now, but she seemed really done with the Scions at the end of this.
Oh, done with the... Oh, okay.
Maybe that's why she didn't have the tattoo. She's so upset and she's so finished, she gets it removed. She's greater
the tattoo
style.
has nothing to do with the Scions, though.
No, I just, like, did anyone else kind of get that, like,
Yeah, she was just
she's
pissed
frustrated.
off.
Yeah, she's frustrated. But like this seemed to me like she is gonna go off and leave the Scions for at least for a bit, or go do something.
Well, yeah, because I think that she's gonna go join the Resistance.
That could be one of the things that
she was
pushes.
only part of the Scions because Papalymo was, and he was protecting her. And so obviously he helped to put those fake tattoos on her neck to be like, yeah, she's a super scholar from Charlayan, guys. So she was just there, and I can feel like that without Papalymo, especially because none of us allowed her. Like, who was it that literally just picked her up? Somebody picked her up, put her on the ship, and literally did not let her go. When you were doing Papalymo, did you guys try to stay with him, or did you run back to the ship?
I tried to stay.
Everyone.
And if you stay,
not me. I left.
Actually, like flies you and forces you back on the ship.
Yeah, he force pushes you back onto the
I can see why Ida would be so sad that like nobody was allowed to stay and help him, and she probably feels like we all let Papalymo down.
And so that could be one of the reasons that pushes us towards Alamigo. Because again, from a military standpoint, even if the leaders of the Orisian Alliance wanted to help Alamigo, you have to think about your country first. And if Garlemald starts to launch some type of offensive against one of the nations, like some of us were theorizing they might, you're not going to be like, all right, well, Limps is being attacked, but let's go save Alamigo anyway.
Right.
One of the things that could push us towards there is if Yida thinks, you know what? No, I have to go help my homeland. They're the only family I have left is there. As the Scions, we're going to think, all right, well, she's one of us. We have to go and help her because no one else is right now. We don't want her getting herself killed. There could also still be some Omega type thing or some other thing that draws us there.
Oh, we definitely have got Omega. But I think now, Omega's role, I think, becomes a lot more clear because we have gotten this setup of the primal summoning that Ilberd did. So I just kind of want to talk about that scene real quick, where you've got Ilberd and he's got the two eyes at the top of the wall, and he's just like, fuck it, I know what I gotta do, and splats himself on the ground.
Literally, splat, emphasis on splat.
Does he? Holy cow.
Yeah, they did not, Square Enix didn't pull any punches.
The scene of people getting impaled by the spider bots.
Oh yeah, it was rough.
That was super intense. It was super intense. Like, Square Enix did a really nice job in the presentation of this. I feel like none of the punches were pulled. I think that, still, I don't think that this is the greatest resolution for the eyes in terms of a narrative. It did reinforce.
Did those get used up in that?
Yes. I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, he used the energy from them and the energy of all, because basically, the reason this bothers me so much because Ilberd's such an asshole that he actually killed his own people so that they would be cursing the Empire, and he used that hatred in their final breaths to summon the primal.
Right.
Ilberd turned out to be a really good villain.
So he used all of that hatred along with the energy, because we didn't have, usually primals are used to summon by crystals. Mm-hmm. So he used the energy from Nidhogg's eyes and the hatred of the people cursing the Empire, when really it was his own.
Right, he used them. He used them as basically a big ethereal battery.
Yep.
And so basically, you have the two eyes of Nidhogg, whose power to bring Nidhogg back into the world was eradicated when we defeated the spirit of Nidhogg. Right? But the ethereal power still remained in them, which is why we tried to throw them off into the void.
Very, very powerful things.
Right.
And they did kind of clarify, too, when he shows up with the eyes, they're like, wait, we threw those off into the chasm. You can't go, I didn't realize this. You physically cannot go down there. The ethereal energy down there will tear you up. You cannot
humans
go
can't
there.
Go down there.
Humans can't survive. So that's why, Ascians went and got it.
That's a retcon. That's
exactly.
a retcon.
I knew it, because I'm like, I've never heard that before anywhere.
That's a fucking retcon, and everyone knows it.
Thank God.
Because Square Enix themselves went back and played that part, and they were like, oh yeah, that does read as really fucking stupid.
Maybe we should have thrown those off the side of the bridge.
Yeah, I get where they were trying to go. It was supposed to seem like a panicked decision, but there was no moment of reflection afterwards where you were like, hang on, did we just do the right thing?
Even if you're just like, hey, maybe we should go get those and put them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Someone want to climb down and get those?
That whatever we see come out of that prison somehow in the design has some aspect of the eyes or Nidhogg on it.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
That would be interesting.
That would be cool, but if it really is summoning Ralgr, which I assume, I don't know how they would implement that. But
I mean, obviously Relgar is just a god, so he's probably been depicted in many different ways.
Yeah,
so
possibly,
to just throw some extra fucking dragon eyes on him isn't a big deal.
So, yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it was really cool. Like, I liked Belisar's Wall in terms of, just a dungeon in and of itself.
Felt like an actual military installation, not a long hallway to me.
Right? Yeah. And I think that's something that all of the Garlean compounds are really kind of guilty of. And it felt big. It felt appropriately large for how much of a a zone divider this has been. Like, it's been a long-standing structure in the Shroud, and you would think, like, man, wouldn't we have had the ability to kind of like go at this thing before this? And they made it feel appropriately large.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about was, who do you guys think is in the primal egg that Ilberd is summoning? We've heard Ralgar thrown around.
I don't know who else it would be.
I mean, I think Ralgar's a pretty good guess based on the lore.
It's brothers.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be someone like, who would the people of Alamigo look to for vengeance against Garlemald? Who else is it but Ralgar?
I think that Ralgar's probably the best guess, but does it also have to be like a single deity?
Ralgar's one of the 12, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay, so wait a minute.
I kind of thought he was a little too lofty.
I kind of think, like, how would we be able to get rid of one of the 12 had they been then we'd suddenly lose that part of the calendar too? Like,
because
what
here's
the fuck?
thing.
I don't
You're
understand.
not actually summoning the thing.
Remember, you're summoning a primal of him, which is people's thoughts and wishes and prayers. Like, we know the Bahamut we fought wasn't the actual real Bahamut.
Then
I think the people's envisioning of Ralgar.
Then does that then take us down the path of fighting all of the 12?
Possible. I don't think it's going to be Ralgar. I think because it was the Griffin, it was Ilberd that initiated this whole thing. I think he's just turned himself into a weird, bastardized version of a primal.
You can say that, but Lewis Swab became Phoenix, and it looked like Phoenix. It didn't look like a bastardized Lewis Swab.
No, that's fine. No, I understand that. And in most cases, whenever a primal's been summoned, it's because those summoning them all had a unified vision of what they were summoning, right?
Yeah.
All the beastmen want their deity
their
to
god,
come.
yeah.
Or you even want to go with Gilgamesh. He wanted his friend Enkidu back, right?
Right.
But because it was Ilberd was the one with the eyes, he was like the final sacrifice. He had all that power in his hand. I think that he knew that he was going to come back as something.
That's almost like Iceheart.
Maybe, but
kind of.
Actually, hang on. That's not that dissimilar to even Nail. Because Nail had kind of offered up his essence when you defeat him up to Dalamud, and we know that he had been, or rather, she had been touched by the primal, and what's the word for it?
Nail was her boyfriend, and she had pretty much absorbed him.
What about this, guys? Up till this point, all of his soldiers didn't know him as Ilberd. They knew him as the Griffin. He was a symbol to them. So as they were down there dying, okay, yeah, sure, most of them, since they're from Alamigo, it makes sense that they'd probably be
would be wishing to Ralgar.
They'd probably be wishing for Ralgar, but they could also be thinking, like, the Griffin needs to save us. We're the one he rallied behind.
But my question is, after you kill one of the 12, how do you then still include Ralgar as one of the 12 in the lore? Because
it seems weird.
But there are people who align themselves with Ralgar. Like, that's one of the character options that you have, is your alignment with a certain deity.
Yeah, it would be weird to have to fight your own deity.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that wouldn't be cool,
but
though.
Again, it's not the actual deity; it's the people's vision of it.
Sure,
it's the Titus.
But it's like having it be part of the 12 seems like that they've set that aside as a different lore thing. Like, it doesn't seem to match up with the concept of how primals have been.
I agree.
Have been rolled out to us.
It's very shaky.
But I'm hoping that going into Stormblood, we don't have the same formula of primals. I want something new, and this would be a nice way to start it.
I mean, well, what primals? There's still many that we haven't seen that have been prominent in other games. Who are we missing? Who would fit this? Like, I guess with the Eastern theme and the kind of desert theme, like Quetzalcoatl would kind of work. But
what was the What was the primal that we had heard about in one of the last interviews where they said that it may be a friendly primal?
That was Lakshmi. That's for the
Lamia deity. Yeah, right. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on here. Go ahead.
Have we had Valefor in the game at all?
Valefor?
Valefor is kind of Griffin-ish.
That's true.
A bastardized version of it. But
Interesting.
Maybe it'll be
Yeah, I'm putting my ticket in the hat as it being some weird. I think it's going to have the consciousness of Ilberd.
Yeah, you see, because I don't necessarily disagree. I don't think Ilberd would willingly just give himself up in his entirety. Like, yeah, his sacrifice may allow freedom for his place, Alamigo. Thank you.
Go.
However, is he going to not bask in that? Is he just going to let himself not be a part of that freedom?
Just hope that this primal somehow ends up freeing Alamigo.
Yeah.
He's not going to give
Using
up control
himself
this
as a
early.
vessel might be good enough for him. Also.
Maybe
it's because of his body and his soul and his well-doing and stealing, getting the eyes and all of that this was able to happen.
But how closely does this? I mean, do the two things have to be related? Because like here's and this was going to be my next sort of point of discussion was that like okay, we've got a whole other story, MSQ. We've got a whole nother line of MSQ quests to get through, and we know already that at least some of those deal with Omega, and we know that at least some of those deal with the one guy, Nero, right? So if we know that, like, we can probably deduce now from the setup that we've gotten plus the scenes that exist in the trailers that we're going to be going to Nero as a friendly source asking what to do, and he's going to recommend using Omega against this new
fetus.
This new primal egg.
Hey, you need an abortion? I got this sweet Allegan tech right here.
And that
Allegan coat hanger.
And we still haven't seen the explosion that happens from the trailer as well. And so there's a lot of speculation that whatever ends up going down between Omega and this this very early primal, this captured primal, is going to be what ends up leading to that explosion.
Friendly reminder, nothing's blown up yet.
Also keep in mind that every time a new primal comes, something changes. So we have to get with the fact that there isn't a set formula for creating a primal because so many people have gone out of the way. Someone in the chat pointed out, Gisela says, Titan kind of had the conscience of Gabu when he was summoned, and multiple things went into the summoning of that, right? There were multiple kobolds that were there summoning. We showed up, killed all of them, and it was Gabu who brought who finally brought Titan into existence. And yeah, it kind of had his consciousness going on. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Ilberd found a way to basically kind of pull a Shiva and become whatever this
Shiva
primal
can
is.
turn back and forth at will.
Yeah, because Ilberd is at this point. Ilberd's such a great villain to now have him completely wasted.
Yeah, but Ysayle didn't.
Ysayle had the Echo. She was like a fallen warrior of light who could have gone in the direction of us, but instead sold her soul and became a primal.
Again, so many different primals have came about in so many different ways. I don't think you can say, "Oh no, that's not how it works."
No, but what I'm saying is that I don't think the identity of the primal will be Ralgar just because it feels like the 12 have been relegated to a different narrative path than necessarily being inserted into the game with direct influence. Like, the 12 play such a little role in the world overall. Like, what, we've got a couple of stones that are marked with with the deity's sign, and then there's like a couple of other like lore instances where we see those signs presented, but that's it. Those are the only things, and I don't see that. I don't see them making the 12 at this point a way bigger narrative
Guys, who is
focus.
Belias, because the chat is lighting up about Belias.
Yeah, Belias is one of the other primals that's mentioned in the Summoner storyline, and that's one of I think one of the NPCs summons an essence of like an Eggy for Belias.
Gisela is also pointing out that the Sahagan priest and Thornton, they didn't have the Echo, but they were able to. He says because Ilberd dealt with Elidibus, I can see him getting the Echo out of the Sahagan priest and Thornton.
that did happen for both of them. They both were able to transform basically into a primal.
So just because they didn't have the
used
echo,
themselves as a vessel, they didn't get the echo.
Okay, so is it so out of the realm that maybe Ilberd knew that by doing this and having those eyes, those aether batteries, as we call
maybe
them.
that's the difference. Maybe that's kind of the critical difference that having the echo gives you. Like, you don't have to die to become a part of the primal. It gives you, since you have that ability to exist somewhat out of time and out of body, whatever the echo is, that allows you to embody a primal, whereas just regular everyday mortal folks that are not blessed by Hydaelyn would actually have to sacrifice something to give of themselves to be able to provide that extra spark.
Mark my words, we have not seen the last of Ilberd. That's my Juxtadomus prediction.
But I'm going back to the Ralgr thing. The way that I understand what you're saying, that the 12 are kind of their own thing. But when I think about it, all of the primals, for the most part, summoned so far have been because of Beastmen, and that was the deity that they worshipped. We look at Thordan, and I mean, he obviously worshipped the king. And when we look at Alamigo, these are human people, and who do the human people worship? They worship these gods. So the primals, as we have been fighting them so far, have been the Beastmen's gods, but now we're going to the realm of primals being summoned by humans.
Here's the difference.
Humans and in Alamigo, they worship Ralgr, and I feel like if they're going to summon their deity, it's going to be Ralgr.
Look, I'm just saying, from a narrative perspective, it doesn't make sense to have a religion whose god you can summon and kill. That just doesn't.
But again, you're not killing the god; you're killing the primal infestation
of a primal manifestation. But is that going to translate to when people are picking their deities, or are we just forgetting that end of the system entirely and saying that it doesn't matter? Because that's what you would have to do. You would have to write off that part of the system and say that doesn't matter. The religion established by the narrative of this world doesn't matter, because now you can actually go meet them, shake their hand, and cut their throat if you really want to. It takes the mysticism out of God when you can actually spit in God's eye.
I think it could be Ralgr, but also go along with what Kala was saying, is that because of the skewed view of what was happening in the way that the primal was summoned, it could easily come back as being Ilberd screaming and shouting, "I am Ralgr," but it really being Ilberd believing
that's
that
what exactly what I would see.
But so I still think it will be Ralgr, whether or not it's like a Shiva-esque thing with Ilberd where he becomes the primal and still has his consciousness. I could totally see that being true. I'm not denying that that's a possibility. I still think that Ilberd's intent was to summon Ralgr because that's who he worships as the almighty god.
I would see Ilberd trying to take the form of Ralgar and saying, "Rally unto me, I am your deity. Let's go fuck some shit up."
But the player would still know it was Ilberd because of whatever they would do to either his character model or the dialogue.
But I don't think it's even going to end up ever getting that far, because we're going to use Omega, and Omega is going to take care of that problem and end up creating another problem. That's what I see as sort of the impetus for Stormblood.
I can't see Nero being our forever ally, though. Let's be real. He's a Garlean. Garlemald is occupied Alamigo. They know that our plan is going to be to liberate Alamigo. He's not going to give us this tool and say, "Okay, go wipe out my entire country who's currently."
Well, that's not what is happening here. What is happening now is, yes, the Garleans have sort of been set up to think that the Eorzean Alliance was the one who pulled the trigger on Baelsar's wall. Yes, they are supposed to think that. We don't know what their reaction is, and the reaction, just taking over a military outpost, is not going to be enough to bring down the ire of the Garlean Empire. It's going to take whatever that explosion is, and I think that once you introduce Omega into the mix and you introduce some real meddling, because the Scions, that when they get involved, the Scions meddle in stuff that they don't even really understand. And I think that is what is going to end up happening here between Omega and this new primal and whatever this big explosion is that the explosion is much more of the impetus for the Garlean Empire to become involved, and then they end up sending Xenos to crush this threat under his boot heels. And I think that is a much better setup for a violent, extended conflict between the Eorzean Alliance and the Garlean Empire.
Which is
because
what we're
right now there isn't just that good impetus. There's been, the setup's there, but there's got to be something bigger, and I think it's going to escalate. I think it's going to be that explosion.
Yep.
And so I wonder how much this primal is even going to end up playing a role in the story moving forward, other than to serve as the literal ticking time bomb that's sitting over the Eastern Shroud.
Or if it's going to be transitioned out of the main story to just being Omega's.
A raid of some sort.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. Thing. Yeah. Because, we do know that they're going to end up attaching the raid to the MSQ a little bit more heavily. And so, yeah, I could see that. This is a setup at the same time for both of those pieces of story. So, yeah, that makes a strange amount of sense to me. So before we move into getting reactions on the Zervan fight and the Zervan story, let's go to our phone lines. And by the way, if you'd like to call Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you want to call in on Discord. Just like Fate and Darius did of the Genova server. What's going on, Fate? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to talk on your show and have an amazing, great cast you got there. Just 100%.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate you holding on so long. We didn't mean to leave you on hold for that long, but it took us a while to get through this MSQ portion of the discussion.
Nika wouldn't shut up.
What do you want to talk about today, Fate?
Well, my main amount of joy that I've gotten over the recent update had nothing to do. The main story is very important, but game mechanics can sometimes bring more players into the fold. And oh my God, cross server. Oh man, I've been able to get almost every bird at this point within the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
And let me tell you something. You get the best of the best from all the servers joining together on one fight. It's so good.
It's
pretty very good.
That's pretty legit. Now, I've got to say that this is a much applauded feature. Now, there's been no shortage of criticism too, and again, you'll always get that comparison to WoW. A lot of people comparing it to WoW's cross-server feature and finding it a lot more clunky than Blizzard's implementation of it, but still a very positive addition and something that, again, has been very applauded by the community. Not something that I've had the ability to check out. Kahlo, I know that you have. What do you guys think of the cross-server Party Finder?
I haven't used it to join any other parties yet. Basically, my use of it has just been to get people, from our chat or people that we know from other servers to come and party along with us. There's nothing wrong with it. It works for what it is. The only downside that we saw to it was that there's no way to put anybody on any type of contacts list, which is weird considering that it has a list of the 50 last people that you were with. But all you can do is blacklist them.
That's weird.
That is really dumb.
So if you find one person that you're good friends with or they really worked well with you and you want to find them again, you have zero way of doing that.
Yeah.
I was on Wednesday night, and just when you go into the party finder, almost nowadays, no matter what you want to do, you can find a group doing it. That's what's been nice. It's not just and no one's doing this fight. Okay.
That is pretty impressive to see 30 some odd people. Or 30 some odd parties that are, all searching for stuff.
Given time. I got up at 9 o'clock this morning and there was 17 parties.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool.
Really nice and a nice change to the game.
Yeah, I definitely think that's been a nice change, but I'd like to see them add more cross-server stuff. Someone had just said in the chat that, cross-server link shells would be awesome. Like you guys were saying, cross-server friends lists would be really clutch. I think that those additions really kind of need to be in place, moving forward. And really, but this is definitely a good start.
Yeah, really, friends list is the big one. You need to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Fate, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. We always appreciate your calls here to Limit Break Radio. All right, so before we go here, let's just talk about the Zervan fight here for just a second. I'm not going to get into Dunscape, not just because I haven't done it yet, but there's not a ton to talk about, apparently, according to you guys.
No. You defeat Diabolos. Surprise!
You win. You won the thing. Oh wait, they used the null stone. He's gone.
Any sense of whether or not you would like Dunscaith available as a housing ward or not?
Well, they better clean it up.
I mean,
It's
that
falling
would be
apart
kind
when we were there.
cool.
As
I
nice
didn't
as
even
it,
think of that.
as nice as it looked in the preview of it,
Yeah,
like
I
when you're
don't-
actually there, it's falling apart.
I don't think there's anything in the actual narrative that suggests that it's going to happen.
No, it'd have been cool though.
All right, let's talk about this Zervon fight, and then we'll get the heck out of here. Zervon, this you have an unlikely team up with the Garleans.
Good old Regula.
And
which I totally thought was going to be a double cross.
Sure wasn't.
It wasn't, surprisingly, but in the fight with some of these acolytes of Zervon, Regula, as Zervon is being woken up, Regula takes a huge shot from Zervon right to the chest.
To save Ukulele.
Yes. Who is useless, by the way.
Absolutely.
He sucks.
100% useless. And
he's just a kid.
And Regula dies.
Kid for
straight up.
And like
Yep.
kids, he sucks.
Regula straight up dead.
Boy, does he.
That's when I realized it wasn't a double cross.
To save Ukulele, which makes no sense.
I can see Kalos sitting there like, this is a double cross. This is dumb. He's about to stab us in the back. Oh, maybe not.
Were you guys surprised that that they killed Regula that quickly?
Absolutely.
Sure was.
Absolutely.
Didn't see that
I
coming.
was.
Because he still seems like a fresh character.
I agree. I would have loved to see more of him.
Triad. How would they then tie him into the story without forcing you to do the Warring Triad quest?
I mean, you got a good point there, but I mean, like, I liked him as a character. I thought he was
Yeah, me
interesting.
too.
I liked his design. His armor design was fantastic.
Now,
so I was a little bit bummed to see him go.
But to be fair, you talk about respecting a bold decision from SE every now and then. You know what? He talks to you. He makes you feel like a piece of shit. He very clearly comes out as the one who's like, I'm the one trying to like do the right thing here.
Yeah.
And then he gives his life for you, and you're like,
Yeah,
wow.
it helps to
Okay.
reinforce this idea that, remember, Garlemald isn't quote-unquote evil.
Right.
Sure, there are enemies, but they still have their own agenda to make what they believe is going to be a better place for the world.
Yeah, they're not trying to, like, they're not the Joker. They're not trying to watch the world burn.
Right.
They're trying to make the world better in what they view as better.
Now, that's not necessarily true of the Asians.
No.
And, of course, we got to find out who Ukulele's master is, and he was brought over by Elidibus. Now, Ukulele, the actual character himself, was a chosen warrior of light from his own world that never met his potential.
Right. He was from the
He
void,
was
right?
too young. Basically, the world fell to the void before
Right.
he was old enough to learn how to use his powers and control his echo and all that kind of stuff.
Right, which
He
we
would have been a warrior
do.
of light.
Yes, we do learn that. Yeah, indeed, it was it was the world that we now call the Void.
And all of the Voidkin that come from there were once people, basically.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Those who were consumed by
And
the
what did he
darkness.
say? That he was wandering the worlds between when Elidibus found him? Is that what he said?
Something
and then
like that,
kind
yeah.
of took him under his wings.
He
or
talked about
something?
wandering the darkness when
darkness?
Elizabeth, found him. So I don't know
So
if
no,
that
is
means.
the darkness like the Asian world? Because when he mentioned that, I this whole new theory hit my brain of what if the Asians, who are all wandering the darkness, were all once warriors of lights
Or
on their potential
warriors of light.
their own world, potential warrior of lights on their respective worlds, who have fallen or who didn't meet their potential and then became Asians.
Well, that would explain.
That was my theory. I've never heard anyone else say that, so I was very proud of that.
It makes
theory.
sense because, like, when we are beaten in combat, we don't die either. We return and then reform.
Yeah, but
it.
what if? I mean, how many worlds have become voids? Like 3?
No more. 6 of them now, isn't it?
6 of them are voids.
Aren't
So
6 of them
they're
fallen
all
worlds now?
warrior lights or potential warrior of lights from those worlds that were lost into the darkness. I mean, they're all wearing masks too, just like Ukulele was.
That's a point that I am not clear on. I don't think that's been made clear
Right.
enough to me to be able to say that for certain.
The only thing that I feel like
FS would probably
goes
know.
against that, Nika, is we've been told by Heidelin that it is the Asians' goal to basically return things to the way they were before the worlds were created, to just return
Before the
everything.
split.
Yeah, return everything to nothingness.
The rejoining.
Right, the rejoining. So if they were once warriors of light, what then made each one of them decide like, oh, this is what we should do, because they all have that same goal in mind, even if some of them want to go about it a different way, such as Elidibus.
Actually, that could be though, because if your world has fallen to the void and you know it can't come back, then maybe they're looking at the rejoining. Maybe that's the only way I can save my world.
Yeah, and maybe they're thinking that if they put it back to the way that it was, that things could reset or things could become better for the future or something. Because I don't think the Ascians are all and out like evil like we originally thought they were. They have a goal that they believe is right, and they're trying to do it. So I think that if that is the case with the Ascians, that they think that this would somehow either save their worlds, reset their worlds, or just make things better for the future.
I do have one question about Una Kalhai, which has been bugging me. Why was he wearing the mask? We don't know him. No one knows him. He's not from our world. No one's going to recognize him.
He does mention when he puts it back on that he feels more comfortable with the mask, so it could have something to do with the fact that his master, Elidibus, was an Ascian. They all wore masks, so it could have just been something that he did.
Seems weird.
So weak.
Yeah.
But I also feel like if he can get off the world, the Warriors of Darkness get off their world, it is possible that someone else escaped from his world as well, and maybe he just didn't want to risk being recognized.
I don't know.
Because of the shame behind being a Warrior of Light that couldn't fulfill his duty.
Look,
Fuzro Dacian says he's just fucking shy
and weak.
Fine.
No, I mean.
But that's also why the Ascians wear masks. Like, we're not going to recognize them probably either, right?
I mean, maybe,
they
but
just do.
Like, at the same time, though, like, you're right. Like, there's no way to recognize that character. I think, like, putting him in the mask, putting him in the white robe, everyone, when they first saw the character, went, you know, and as soon as they, like, he referred to having a master, everyone went, Elidibus, and, like, they were fucking right. And, like, that's kind of disappointing. I think the fact that it was exactly what we thought it was is, like, super... That's, like, really disappointing to me.
How come Azaz Law is still floating? I'm so confused.
You know?
Why is that place still flying?
That's what I was waiting for.
They charge the batteries up. Now we gotta wait for the batteries to run out.
That's what I was waiting for. Is like at the conclusion of the Warring Triad, what happens to Azaz Law? Does it crash into the ocean? No, it can't, because it's a zone, and there are things that have to happen there, even beyond when you complete the MSQ.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is
I like the Anima.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing, but at the same time, I guess the way that I look at it is, they were harnessing them for power, but back when whichever civilization it was using all that, was probably doing a lot of stuff, right? Now they've been gone for so long, it's all just sort of been in sleep mode, so it has enough power stored up to just
go for a bit,
I guess. I don't know.
That's just fucking weird.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Well, you know what? If they do end up tying these in and making you do them before Stormblood, maybe you see that zone disappear in 4.0.
No, I don't see it. No
portion of it.
No, I don't see it.
It'll be there.
I don't see it.
All right.
No, because you're always going to be able to go back and do the Anima even after it's irrelevant.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and I forgot that they had put NPCs there and stuff. Yeah, like there's no way that they could have.
Yeah, like there's a Triple Triad NPC that's hanging out there too.
No. All right.
I mean, it's just it feels like that there could have been something to do with that, but like, or maybe there was something that was intended to happen. I don't know, man. It just seems like, okay, you've taken away the power source. Now what?
Well, now we take a bunch of those Garlean guys and put them on a bunch of hamster ball wheels and make them run to generate power.
Here's my big question for you guys, because at the end of that Zervon stuff, they welcome Yooka-Laylee as a Scion.
That's so dumb.
All right, now, that's not part of the MSQ. It is completely optional. So how do people who are going to be able to skip over Heaven's Ward and A Realm Reborn going into Stormblood know who the fuck he is?
They're not going to care.
Yeah, more importantly,
no, if you're buying a jump potion, you're not going to care. What I'm wondering is about the people who did do the MSQ, who do care about the story, but just haven't finished the Warring Triad for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden Yooka-Laylee is part of the Scions in the Stormblood. It's going to be weird, unless they make you do the Warring Triad.
But like, no. The thing is that you know that they're going to compartmentalize him into one part of the Scions. You're not going to see
Heaven's Ward's Urianger.
Like Urianger was not. I mean, he was used every once in a while, every great once in a while, and they probably have a long-term plan for him, but like I don't see him popping up in every single cutscene that involves the Scions, sort of like you see
Thancred or
exactly any of your normal.
He's one of the second tier Scions.
Yes, exactly.
Second class Scion.
Yeah, right. So I think that's it. I think that covers most of the story discussion that we have from 3.5.
Wow.
The second part of 3.5, I think, is pretty anxiously awaited by all of us.
Dear God, please hurry up.
That's supposed to be what, the end of February?
I think it's
it's like March.
No, that's right. Diadem is end of February.
Yeah,
that's right.
3.55 is Diadem. 3.56 is MSQ2.
But wait a minute. Wait a minute. So we've got the European Fan Fest that's coming up in the middle of February
18th.
And they had said that there was stuff that they were holding back from other fan fests because we would need the context of 3.5 to be able to understand what is going on. So what did they give us in this patch that is going to be so important to understanding any kind of context to Stormblood? Honestly,
the fact
true
that there's
shit.
a Dalamud housing Ralger,
the primal embryo.
So
maybe.
then,
Baelsar's Wall is the new housing area.
So then European Fan Fest is going to spoil a portion of 3.5 Part 2.
What?
Ooh,
maybe,
or maybe give us something.
I guess it depends on what's going to come in Part 2. Are we going to know about what's in the embryo in Part 2, or are we not going to know that until Stormblood?
I mean, I would think, if you're going to be doing something, you're going to have to find out a little bit more about it.
I mean, the last we heard, was it Y'shtola who went off to go calculate the ethereal, radiation coming from it? Wasn't that the last thing we heard about
and
it?
Cryo
I'm going to
went,
go check and see what's going on.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that they've set themselves up for something very kind of odd, because I just don't see what context this is supposed to bring to the table for the European Fan Fest that we didn't have prior to this, that we needed to understand about Stormblood's marketing material.
Good question.
I don't know, but that's kind of bothering me. In the back of my head, I'm going either they're going to spoil something for the MSQ coming up, or we're going to get another kind of disappointing fan fest where we don't really understand what the expansion is going to be about.
I mean, or 3.56 is not going to be what we think it is.
I think the lack of Paplimo is going to be the big thing they couldn't reveal.
I bet they hint at what the primal is.
That could be.
I don't think they'll tell us.
Because they said that they had another half of that Stormblood trailer that they couldn't show us.
Right, it was only a small portion of it, wasn't it?
I mean, look, the Griffin and an Ilberd, yes, that I can understand. Okay, that's a pretty big revelation that you would hold back. That's literally the only piece of information that I could see them addressing in a Stormblood. The full, think of okay, we only got a portion of the Stormblood trailer. They said that the full-length Stormblood trailer revealed too much about what would happen in 3.5 to be able to show us during the North American and Japanese fan fest.
It's got to be the death. I think we're going to see Paplimo in some type of way that makes us think, what the fuck? How did he end up like that? With the crystal in the aether.
Usually the expansion trailers thus far have not been directly relevant to the story, ever had anyone relating to the story really outside of the Warrior of Light, or I suppose Louiswa. But thinking about what we've seen so far, we've seen the Warrior of Light and we've seen the Chicken Red. I mean, the only way I could see it going that direction is that we're actually going to see all of the primals in Alamigo, or not the primals, all of the Scions in Alamigo, or we're going to see Ida in some way, shape, or form in the trailer, but then not see Paplimo.
But that's what I'm saying, though. We don't even know that lady in red is even Ida, and nothing that we've been given.
I think it's her sister.
Nothing that we've been given in terms of the MSQ during this run of MSQs would give us any indication who that woman is.
Right,
and that was one of the things.
The trailer might either confirm or deny it, or show Ida.
But that was one of the things that we were told about 3.5 is that we might get to meet that woman in red, or we might get to figure something out about her, and we don't. So what is the payoff? What were they holding back from North American and Japanese fan fests that they're gonna show us at the European Fan Fest that they couldn't show us before? Because there's almost literally nothing in this line of storyline quests that does that.
That we can fathom anyhow.
Yeah. There's nothing. You either need the additional context of the second round of storyline missions, or they're just not. They're going to go, sorry, we can't show it to you.
Oh,
I think that
it's got to be something with Paplimo, because had we seen a trailer with Paplimo in it, when this dropped, we'd have been like, oh, we know he's not dead. We know it because he's in the trailer.
Or I feel like it could actually show Ida as we know Ida. Like, if that woman in red is not Ida, it could show her, and it could show her mad and raging because of Paplimo, and she storms in and does something stupid in the trailer. If we didn't know Paplimo was dead, why would Ida be upset and crying? It would spoil something.
I hope in the trailer she punches Thancred square in the nose.
A lot of really good questions, guys, but that's going to do it here for Limit Break Radio today. I want to thank you guys for joining us live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. All 253 of you, thank you so much for hanging out. You can join us live each and every single Sunday. That's live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. I want to thank our callers today and, of course, our special guests, Lukile and Orange Caramel from the Speakers Network. Make sure you go check them out. That is at youtube.com. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at SpeakersXIV, and then on Twitch at twitch.tv/Speakers of Heidelin. And again, thank you guys for hanging out. Appreciate it. It was great talking to you. You guys should definitely go check out their series, The Fall and Rise of Final Fantasy XIV, especially if you're not a 1.0 player and you've always been really curious about how 1.0 really kind of unfolded. So again, check them out, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV. That's going to do it here for Limit Break Radio. Thank you to everyone who was hanging out today, everyone who called, everyone who sent in emails. We're not going to be able to get to emails today. We're going to put the fan fictions on the back burner for a little bit. We had 2 of those in a row. 2 weeks of fanfic in a row.
I got strangled to death in one of them.
Look, we have a Nika Kuki one. Maybe we'll do that.
Whoa.
It's going to be a little while before we revisit that bit. But I do want to thank you guys. If you want to send in emails, fanfics, whatever you want, hosts at limitbreakradio.com is where that can be done. Remember to make sure to check out Limit Break Radio on Tuesdays. That's when the full podcasts come out. If in the case of this episode, it's probably going to be Wednesday, just because Juxta decided to be brilliant and put sloppy on all of our donations. So just so you guys know,
Do your job!
If this takes a little bit longer, that's why. But anyway, yes, guys, I want to thank you so much for hanging out. Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio is the channel. LimitBreakRadio.com is the website. Next episode, guys, we're going to be back for episode number 99. We hope that you will join us right here at our new time, starting at 4 p.m. here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. I want to thank my crew. We had Skuro, who was hanging out in the chat doing things, I think, but also my crew in studio. Kalolandis, Juxtaposition, Nika Kyanian, Escalia Rayumasa. I'm Aniro. Keep listening.
Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. This episode was produced by Kuku Persona and Scully Rayamasa. Final Fantasy XIV nails are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Mary Kennett, Satori Kameji, Dark Flux, Null Package, Shira Heartslot, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. Support Limit Break Radio. Visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to The Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode is provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to This and other great Final Fantasy 14 and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/HuskyByTheGeek. In-game graphics from Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmn.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.